flesh-eating mammal. They have been kept in a domesticated state by man since prehistoric times, when abandoned by man, left to fend for themselves. And deprived of food, they will resort to the most primitive means of survival. Given no other choice, they form the pack.
Most of those dogs were just tourist pets until a few weeks ago.
You guys hear that?
Are you saying there's more than one?
Last summer, they were pets. Now they are predators. The right move may mean survival, while each moment brings them closer to death.
It's like they know we want to leave.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 247 of the Triple Shots of Moodz and Horror Podcast is coming at you live and direct with the homie, JP, also known as the Mexicans. We got Mr. Saucedo back in the house, also known as Freeman Part 2, and I be your host, the MOOD to the Z, Moodz. Yeah. What's going on, homies?
Yo, back after Italian Horror Month, jumped into the Christmas horror month and just Christmas movies in general. Doing the grind for 2023. I kind of got inspired after last show. Made me want to check out more stuff.
Yeah, man.
I've been watching a ton of 2023 this past week.
Yeah, I've been trying to get those things watched too. Yeah, I mean, I'll say 23 is looking a little more solid than it was a week ago for myself, because I did watch some pretty decent films this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
You know, it's promising. It's promising, and I'm not as disappointed as I was a week ago. But yeah, like it's crazy this time of year. It just seems like yesterday we did a Halloween show, you know, and then we jump right into Italian Horror Month, and now it's like Christmas, and like fuck, it just like makes your head spin a little bit.
It does, man.
There's like so many holidays that we just kind of like, or not. Well, I mean, I guess Italian Horror Month really isn't a holiday, you know what I mean? But we kind of treated it like it is one, you know what I mean?
It felt like it to me, for sure.
Yeah, it kind of does. So like we have like all these things like lumped in at one time, and then just a busy time of the year. Like we're crunching 2023 watches, and then oh man, it's a fucking crazy shit. But yeah, no, I finally got around to watching Candyland, because I know that UJP you'd mentioned that one. I think was it not the first film of the year that you even watched? You said you watched it really early.
2023. Yeah,
so
it was like in early January.
Yeah, I completely had forgot about it until you mentioned it last week. And I was like, oh man, I got to write that down. I got to check out Candyland. So I finally watched it, and I was impressed with it. It was good. It was a little bit shocking at points in the film. I was like, what? That's crazy to see in a film. But it was enjoyable. It was actually quite enjoyable.
Big fan.
I checked out Suitable Flesh. I completely forgot about that film, and I was searching out films to watch.
Joe Lynch one.
Yeah, the new Joe Lynch, and I was like, oh yeah, Suitable Flesh. I just had to refresh my memory on it and stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool. Pretty. It's a different Joe Lynch type of film. Did you get a chance to watch it yet?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. It's on my list though.
Yeah, that one's on my list too.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. You know, I mean, Lynch is kind of like a hit and miss director with me, but you know, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I could see this one kind of being split on people, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Finally got around to watching Hell House, the origin story, the Carmichael Manor. I thought it was pretty good. You know, to be honest, man, that franchise is pretty solid. I know a lot of people are like, fuck part 2 and 3 or whatever, but I mean, when we did the trilogy, I thought it was pretty solid, actually. I mean, I like the continuity that happens throughout it and stuff like that. I think they did a pretty good job with the writing and stuff. So, but this one, it's got some creepy ass fucking moments in it though, man. And I thought, you know, the thing I kept hearing about it was like, oh, the acting's fucking terrible in this. The fucking acting's terrible. And you know me with like found footage type films, like I've stressed this enough on the podcast over the years, where if the acting in a found footage film is bad, it just ruins it for me because it's supposed to be like a real thing, right? Like you have to have that natural acting in a found footage movie for it to work for myself. It just makes it work a lot better kind of thing. And I didn't think the acting was that bad in this at all. So I don't know where people are getting that from, but whatever. I ended up checking out Nefarious, Mr. Venom. He mentioned that one last week. And
yeah, that one's high on my list too.
Yeah, man, Nefarious is fucking good, man.
I'm like shocked that people are actually liking it now, because I saw that one in a theater when it came out, and I remember just a lot of people like saying that it was like too conservative or something like that. And
what do you mean conservative?
Come on. Oh my god!
Like, what do you mean conservative? Like, I don't understand.
Politically, conservative. But
like how?
Like, I don't know. I just remember seeing like people were saying like it had like conservative viewpoints.
Like nothing surprises me anymore. Like this, like after seeing like people's takes like on certain movies this summer, like nothing surprised. People are going to see whatever they want to see in a movie.
Right. And I feel like that's it's almost like a misconception of I don't know, like conservative for that type of narrative. I don't know, man. I mean, it's really about a dude that's like on death row, and there's a doctor there that's just, he's either going to sign off on it that he's crazy, or he's not going to, and he's going to get executed kind of thing, you know?
But it's like, even if it is, like, who cares? Like, it's a movie.
Right.
it's like, it's a movie. It's not like...
Dude, I love tons of movies that I don't align with politically.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like, and I've said it a million times. I really don't give a fuck what your message is. You just have to tell it right. Like, it doesn't matter if I don't have to agree with the message.
Exactly.
By the
I'm
end.
not narcissistic enough to like think like my like way of thinking and living is the correct way, and that like there's no other ways that people could think that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's insane to me to like inside of like just make a decision on a film like based on what your perceived like a political association it is. That's just insane to me.
Right.
Yeah, but I really like that movie. It's cool. I like movies like that are dialogue heavy like that, you know, that are just, and it's like sort of you're just trying to figure out what's going on the whole time. Like I like that.
Yeah. Well, Sean Patrick Flannery, man, knocks this role out the fucking park. Like, he does such a good job as that kind of dual role. Like, it's fucking amazing, dude. Like, he just literally switches on a dime. Right. I thought he was really good in this film, man. But like that's the thing with these heavy dialogue type films, man. Like, if it's interesting, it's going to work, right? It has to be acted well. It has to be fucking interesting, but it's cool, man. I think it's really neat how they did it, but I finally checked out that French movie on Shudder. I think it's got
that like apartment movie.
Yeah. Like it's called The Tower on
I still haven't seen it. Is it worth checking out?
No, it's fucking terrible.
All right.
It sucks. It sucks so bad because
the description sounded so good. I was like, dude, damn, this sounds cool.
It literally it's about like this fog thing that like encapsulates this like building, and everyone's trapped inside. It basically turns into like a prison movie where everybody in this building's trapped. They can't go outside because the fog literally like eats you. Like it just disintegrates you. So it's kind of a cool setup, but there's like no explanation for what's going on. But the whole movie basically turns into a prison movie where people start like, it gets all racist, like the whites all get together and the blacks and the Mexicans, and it turns into that type of deal because they can't go outside. So the apartment building acts as a prison, and now, you know, people are like trading goods and like trading sex for this and that. It just becomes like its own like little society, but in a jail kind of format, and people are fucking getting killed off and shit. But there's no redeemable characters in this film that you even like remotely like for 1 second. And it totally just like, everyone's just existing to like exist. It was such a fucking terrible movie. I was so pissed off with it because I was like, how do you ruin this setup? Right. It just sucked. It really did suck. Yeah. So I don't recommend that shit, but I ended up watching Malum. So that was,
yeah, I saw that in the theater too.
What did you think of Malum?
I thought it was good, but I didn't see like, I just didn't really get the point of doing it really.
Well, because it's a remake, right, of The Last Shift, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's same director too, so it's just like an English version,
right?
And I remember, I don't remember Last Shift all that good, but I remember thinking that I liked Last Shift more.
Oh, I think I don't remember the movie like, like I watched it yesterday, but I remember really liking The Last Shift. I think I did a review on that movie, maybe on my channel or something like that. But I remember digging The Last Shift, and I was surprised that, I mean, this has happened so many times over the years where these foreign directors make like English versions that are just not as good. I'm like, what's the fucking point? Just watch The Last Shift. Like, you don't need to make it like a westernized version. I just don't understand it, but I don't know, Mal, it was okay.
Yeah,
it was okay for what it was.
I got the 4K in the mail the other day.
Yeah.
And from TerrorVision, oddly enough. And I think that might be their first 4K, actually. But I haven't watched. I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it or not anytime soon. But I don't know. Theatrical horror has not been like the greatest this year for me. Whereas like the last couple, I feel like it's been pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's been a lot of theatrical movies this year, man.
I heard that Godzilla movie. I heard that new.
I was going to bring that up.
Insane. I heard that movie.
Yeah, everybody. I'm gonna try to go see that before the end of the year.
I'm gonna go see that this week. If I
didn't even realize that was even coming. Like I saw the thing. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
And I guess it's like it's not like the Action America has one. It's like a Japanese like kaiju horror movie.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
People say it's like it's more reminiscent of like the very first Godzilla.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm definitely gonna check that out. That sounds like that might be the big ticket this year.
I'm gonna have to check that out on.
When Godzilla fans are popping off, there's some good shit going down.
Yeah. I literally heard like I guess like it's a very it's like an emotional film too, right? Like that's one thing I read. Like I guess it just works on that level too. So
that's a show we should do. Godzilla Volume 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you already did one.
I don't think we. No,
I don't think we've ever. I mean we've. I don't know. Have we ever even reviewed?
Yeah, that's something that crossed my mind.
No, there's been a few Godzilla films that we talked about, but
yeah, because I thought I remember.
We never did like a full Godzilla.
Oh,
show,
you know what it was?
No.
JP
King Kong.
We
did King Kong.
Yeah.
Didn't you used to pick up like kaiju films like really cheap like years ago for the what we watched and just like watch those periodically?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure you did. I think you talked about.
I think that's what I'm remembering because I remember like it being like not just like one film, like constantly hearing about it. So I think like that might be it. Was that or King Kong?
Yeah. Well, years ago when like I always wanted to do like a Kai June show for June, but we never recorded June, so it just never worked out.
Right.
But yeah, no, that I've always wanted to go through that series because I mean I've seen a handful of them. I've probably seen 10 Godzilla movies, but it's such a big franchise that I would like to one day go through it.
Well, yeah, there's like 30, almost 40 movies now.
It's an uncountable amount
because there's even a couple American ones, and if you count those two,
I think I have every Godzilla film except for obviously this new one. But I really like a lot of the late 60s and early 70s ones and shit. Some of those ones are really funny. They're so goofy, but they're fun. So. I
like a lot of them too. I like most of the ones I've seen, honestly.
Yeah.
The only ones I don't really like are the ones that put a heavy emphasis on Mothra. Because I was just going to say like Mothra.
Fucking hate Mothra.
Yeah, I hate that damn moth, dude. Mothra was kind of okay in the American ones, though. Those really should have been better than they were.
Yeah, I think so. Right. But your hatred for Mothra is it's so funny to me, man.
I don't know why everybody loves that fucking thing, dude. Everybody's like, oh, Mothra's like so good and pure and awesome. I'm like, dude, it's fucking lame. It got these two little silk caterpillars that are just like, like get out of here.
No, I get it, man. I get it. So what did you watch this week, Saucedo, for 23 films?
For 23 films, the two big ones I watched, I finally checked out When Evil Lurks. I thought that's three big ones, but I checked out When Evil Lurks. And I thought that was pretty good. I like that a lot. That was a really well-made movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I could tell, like, I liked his film before this, Terrified or something, but I didn't love it. But you could tell he has a good eye and he has a good sense of how to make a movie. So, like, I was definitely expecting this to be pretty good.
Right.
And a movie I really liked, I watched Brooklyn 45. That one's like, that's like it's more of like a contained, like a contained horror with like some supernatural stuff, kind of mixed in, but that one was really good. I thought that that kind of went a little deeper than most of the stuff I've seen. And then also I finally saw Thanksgiving this week too, and that movie was fun.
Yeah, I've had Brooklyn 45 in my Shutter queue for like all year. I just haven't checked it out yet.
No, it looks like, well, the problem with it is like, and I just like said, okay, this is like 90 minutes, so I'm going to watch it, but it has a terrible title and it looks like a goofy ghost movie, and it's just not either.
Well, I thought it was a straight up comedy. Right?
Yeah, and it's not even like a comedy. It's got like some cool, like, it's got some like funny like banter like at the beginning, like, but it's just like bullshit you'd like talk about with your friends, like, and it's actually good. It's like you can like tell these guys have camaraderie, but it's more like a thriller, like a horror thriller. So
the title is referring to the year that it's set in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it in black and white?
No, it's in color. It's a pass for it's war vets. It's like it's not that it's not set in 45, is it? It's set later.
Yeah. Well, it's no, I think it is set in 45.
Oh, crazy.
When did World War II end?
45.
Yeah. So like, I thought
right after the war.
Oh, okay. See, like, I was a little confused with that.
And it's not black and white? Crazy. Huh.
No, but it's like, it's all pretty much like, you almost never leave this one room.
Right.
But, and they do a good job though, like, just like, just having the vehicles and having the room set up. But
yeah, I like that. I'm gonna have to check it out, man. I've been hearing
it's also set like
nothing
right
but good
after
things.
Christmas or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies this year that are incidentally on Christmas, I've noticed.
Well, that was weird when I popped in Candyland. I didn't realize, I had no idea that it was like set around Christmas time, and like starts out with like Christmas music and shit. I was like, oh, well, that's weird. Like,
and I watched this movie Attachment too. I thought that was okay.
I think I watched that one too. I don't think I liked it.
I thought it was all right. Like, I remember, like, I liked like the first 2/3 of it, and I thought like the third act kind of shit the bed, but like not enough to ruin the movie.
JP, did you watch Influencer, or was it you?
I watched Influencer. I think we both did. I hated it.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
All right, so watching like 2011 and 2023 movies concurrently has kind of made me realize I'm like in this like demographic now of horror movies where I'm not the mass consumer anymore that's going to the theaters, because like movies like Influencer made me feel like I was just like some angry old guy that didn't like the kids and the music. And like, but now that like I'm going back and watching 2011 movies and seeing movies I saw when I was like 21 years old, like I watched Your Next this week too, and I liked that a lot when it first came out. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'm watching it now, I'm just like, this fucking sucks. So it's like it's weird where like I'm like, no, it's like, man, there's like a whole like block of horror movies that just aren't for that. Like I'm just so far away from the demographic now.
I know. I just feel like Your Next is like, when that movie came out, it had a lot of buzz and a lot of people liked it and shit. But I was always kind of lukewarm on it too when it came out, and I'd rewatched it a couple times over the year and over the years, and I rewatched it for 2011, and I was like, you know what, my stance is still there on this, man. I just don't think it's that good.
I think back like when I was like that age, I cared like less about things. Like I was like way less perceptive to things just like blatantly like not making sense, or like, you know what I mean? Like that stuff just like flew by my head. And it's not that like I'm going in looking to pick the movie apart, but like, no, especially because like, we've seen it a bunch of times. We know exactly what's going on. Yeah. Like it just like watching it through that lens, it's like Helen Keller could have seen the twist in this movie.
Right. Yeah. JP, did you watch anything this week?
Yeah. So I did a couple 2023s. I did The Mail, which oddly enough, I saw an advertisement for like on YouTube or something. And I was like, oh, it's on Hulu. Let me check it out. It's a pretty interesting movie. I'm always like a fan of these like movies, basically like the Cube movies, you know what I mean, where it's like people wake up in a strange place and have to do something or something. Like those movies have always like worked really well for me. Basically this guy wakes up in a room and there's like a giant stone wheel in the center of the room, and you have to basically rotate it, but it's like really heavy, and you have to do a certain amount of rotations, a quota every day, and it's like an algorithm basically where like if you meet the quota, if you like far exceed it, then it'll expect you to do more. So then your quota is like, instead of 50 rotations, it's like 87. And then like if you get a penalty, your rotations has like doubles. And then there's other people doing this too, and and they're like talking through vents and stuff.
Is this
I thought
game
it was,
show? Is this game show hosted by Steve Harvey or what?
I thought it was. It reminded me of like a less good platform because there's like obviously all these commentary opinions on like the work industry and like quotas and like basically promotions and like working your life
Slave
away and
labor.
stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much. But I thought it was pretty interesting. It's not like overly great, but I enjoyed it. And then I watched
That sounds cool. That sounds cool, man. You know, I was actually, it's funny that you bring up the platform. I was actually thinking about that the other day, and it just got me fucking fuming again because like I want that movie on Blu-ray. Like, and we're never
that's a
gonna
good
get
movie.
Platform was fucking, I think it made my top 10
there's
that
a
year. It was
lot
fucking
in, like-
It
good.
was my number 2 that year.
Man, that was a good fucking, like, I was so blown away by that movie when I was like, this is the coolest idea for a film. Like, it's
One
just
thing
so
about
unique.
that too is like I had a takeaway from that movie that I guess was a lot different from different people, and it was like way darker. So like just the fact that I was so far away from different people and what the film meant means there's a lot you can discuss in that movie, and it's just like it's gonna like die if it just like it's up
Oh, yeah.
the Netflix.
Right.
Yeah, I do know there. The one good thing about like the world, the era we live in, like there's a lot of people who make like nice Blu-ray editions of
They're like the
bootlegs basically of Netflix movies, and it's like I don't even feel bad if I was to buy those because like, bro, you ain't like put the shit out. I'll buy it from you.
Well, Netflix has openly said like their movies are not going to come to hard discs, right?
But
so
some
like,
of them do. That's what's annoying.
I know it is
Like,
weird,
some
right?
do come out on
The you can buy The Irishman on Criterion.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know, I mean, that's just, yeah. But I know, like,
There's
the
another
more
one,
years
too.
go by, the more like there is like cool like Oxygen. I wouldn't mind owning the Fear Street series, Hush, the Stephen
Man.
King movies that are on there.
it's so fucked up you bring that up
Texas
too. Man.
Chainsaw, dude.
I was thinking
we
of,
can't even complete our chainsaw collection.
I know we always bring that up every time, right? We're like, fucking, there's one Chainsaw movie that's missing from this collection. That's ridiculous. Like, it's a fucking major franchise, and we can't even get one of the films on hard copy. It's like,
Oh well, I just thought that the new David Fincher movie's a Netflix movie, so
Yeah.
that might not be the same thing.
but I mean, still, it's the point that these movies are
Yeah.
not most likely coming to hard copies and shit, and it's fucking annoying because like, I mean, I guess if it's a Netflix movie, it's going to be on Netflix. It's not like they have to rent it; it's their fucking movie, so it's going to stay there. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
but like
assuming-
one day
one
they
day
could
they
just
could just
decide
be
to
like,
they
take it
could
off.
change their mind. Take it off.
Or they could be like, you have to pay an extra premium for Netflix originals.
Oh,
Right.
you know what they could do? They
I'm
could
actually
be
quite
like,
surprised that
okay,
they don't do that.
We're gonna take these off starting on this date or something, and then they go off, and then like a month later, like, oh, well, now you can own the entire series of Stranger Things, and then you have to buy it at whatever the ridiculous price is.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
Stranger Things has
or-
physical releases.
Yeah, they do already.
I don't.
No,
like that shit.
I didn't know that. I was just fireballing. So let's just say like Hush, like, oh, you want Hush, $24.99, no special features.
Or
I
they
think-
could even do a thing where like they make you do like a year subscription to get their exclusives instead.
Oh
of,
yeah,
like, the month-
they'll call it like Netflix Plus or something.
yeah,
Right.
because like a lot of people will cancel Netflix, and then when some new big show comes out, like Tiger King or Dahmer or something like that,
Yeah, well,
they'll sign up for 1 month, they'll binge it, and then they'll cancel again, which is essentially what I had been doing for a while because I don't.
There's just so many
I just don't like Netflix right now, like
Yeah.
at all. Like
Man,
I barely
Netflix-
ever watch it, and
The-
their shit
Netflix
is-
has been shit.
the
like-
thing is now too is
and
like
their
we're in
prices
an
keep going
era.
up.
Yeah.
We're in an era where there's so many smaller services that are way more specialized
Yeah.
that cost less money, and it's like just more efficient. You could pick 3 that are like $5.99 each, or like get Netflix.
I
Dude,
really
when
don't.
we started this podcast, there was like Netflix, Hulu, and like fucking like maybe like like Crackle. There was like 3 or 4. Like
Yeah, there
and
was
now
barely
there's
any.
literally one for every media
Hulu
company
wasn't even
out there.
available in Canada at the time. I don't think so. I didn't even have access to that.
Yeah,
So it was even
it's
more
kinda
limited
nuts,
for me.
bro.
It's crazy, man. Like, yeah, it's
There's so many, dude. I find new ones all the time. Like
no, I know. I see them all the time too. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man?
You
I'm like,
find you find specialty ones that are like $2.99.
like niche ones, yeah.
Yeah,
like I think honestly, the funny thing is I think one of the best deals out there right now is Screenbox.
Yeah, Screenbox is good. Another one that's
Screenbox
good
is actually doing some fun stuff lately.
Is AMC Plus. It's like $6.99 and you get everything. Yeah, you get everything Shudder has.
Yeah, not it. Sometimes there's some weird issues with that though.
It's so funny. Like I have all these services too, like, well, not Screenbox and stuff, but I don't even think it's available here. But anyways, but like I find myself watching fucking F movies all the time. Like it's so fucking bizarre. Like that's how I watch some of these movies because it was like the only access I had to them. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, if I could get a physical of it or whatever, like say Candyland or something like that, I'd do it that way. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Like you pay for all these services and then you find yourself watching like bootleg fucking, versions on F fucking movies. It's ridiculous. But yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I don't like about Screenbox, the only thing really is that it does not have an Xbox app, which is annoying to me because I have to cast it and I don't like casting that much. Yeah. But yeah, they put out the cool thing about them is they almost seem like they're taking the same path Shudder did, and they're like getting exclusives and originals basically.
Well, that's kind of the thing right now. Like everybody, that's what they do. They try to get exclusives because that's how it brings in people, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a selling point. It's just a selling point.
But they have they have such a mix, like because they'll go out there and get like a big movie like Terrifier 2. Then they also went and got Adam
Chaplin. That just came out, right? Adam Chaplin.
Oh, did they get that?
I think that came out just this month.
There's a sequel to that?
No, like they just they're finally it's finally streaming somewhere.
Oh, well, yeah, I meant like new movies.
Okay.
They're.
Oh, wasn't The Barn 2 on them?
The Barn 2, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
right. Yeah, you mentioned that before. Yeah.
But I like their service so far. And like I said before, like they get like weird stuff too, like Indian horror movies, like Indian ripoffs and stuff. Yeah. That's another show we could do, like some Bollywood shit.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, man.
Did you guys get the Mondo Bollywood box set?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we could.
I don't think I've ever seen a other than like Toombad. I don't think I've ever seen like a Bollywood horror movie.
Oh my god, dude! It's like an experience. It's so they're so fucking weird.
Toombad would be considered Bollywood, right?
I thought like anything where they're just singing.
It is an Indian film though, isn't it?
Yeah. But I thought Bollywood was like a genre. Is it?
Well, Bollywood. Yeah, it's like I mean. I guess in a sense.
Or is just all Indian movies considered Bollywood movies?
I thought this like the ones like because I've seen Indian movies where they don't sing and dance, so I thought
they don't fucking sing in Toombad.
No. Yeah, they do.
Where?
Isn't there a musical number in Toombad? I thought there was.
I don't think so. Bro. I'm trying to remember, but
I could have sworn there was a musical number in that movie.
I mean, there's like scenes where like there's music that's like in the background.
Oh, I thought there was like one part where like when they finally got gold, like they did like the like little rap. I don't know. Maybe I watched at the same time like I watched RRR and that's like they're blended together.
But oh yeah, what was this? Other stuff that I watched, I guess. Speaking of Screenbox, I watched their new movie Night of the Missing, because it was labeled as a Christmas horror, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch this. It's basically like an anthology with this woman in a police station interviewing this other woman, and the woman's talking, that she's interviewing is telling the stories, basically. And the Christmas setting is literally like some lights in the background in the interview. It's an anthology. It was okay. It wasn't like anything great. Honestly, it's probably like average as hell. And then I watched The Friendship Game. I think that was on Shudder. That movie was kind of confusing, man. I don't know if anybody. The Friendship Game.
I don't think I watched that one.
It just came out like this week on Shudder.
Okay.
It's not very good. I thought it was okay again, but pretty average. And it was it was like a little hard to follow. basically these friends get this like mysterious little box thing where they're supposed to give their innermost desires, like it's like a game, and then it's supposed to test your friendship. But it was very weird. And then I watched Night of the Hunted on Shudder. That was the one where the chick is at a gas station, and there's like a sniper. It could have been it could have been like a decent movie. But I feel like they had a lot of missteps in it. And honestly, like the lead is like very unlikable to me.
Yeah.
So that didn't really work for me. It was pretty average as well. Then I watched Brooklyn 4-5 as well, which I also liked. And I also thought I literally was avoiding it because I thought the poster makes it look like some kind of like Ghostbusters like comedy.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
That's exactly what I thought it was, like a supernatural comedy. And I was like, oh my God, seriously, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, but like Brooklyn 4-5 literally means like Brooklyn 1945, and it's set 2 days after Christmas. A bunch of war veterans in a old like fucking fucking apartment building. They do a really good job making it feel like it's the period that it's set in. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a good movie. And then the last one I watched was Influencer. I don't think I disliked it as much as Tyler. I'm very weird. Like, even though I'm aware that like the way that a lot of like kids and like the whole like social media stuff is in reality and in movies, like even though I'm aware and find it like cringe, it doesn't bother me that much because I have like a sense of like, that's just, how kids are these days. And like,
I just don't like these type of movies.
That's exactly how the movie made me feel. Cause I knew it was like, this is just isn't for me. Like this is for like kids today. And I'm just the old guy that's watching the movie.
I know. I felt the same way watching. I was like, this shit is just not. I always talk about these technology movies and stuff and things that are based on the internet and social media and stuff. I'm like, fuck, man. It's just not for me.
I am getting a little burnt out on that type of thing. I mean, dude, I swear I've seen like 20 movies that like were about an influencer in the last like 2-3 years. Like it's getting a little much for me.
A part in Influencer where like they were like trying to like show the like the romance developing or something, and like he was talking about like what he was doing, and basically he kind of just stopped to explain what an influencer was, and I didn't even like really understand that at all. But when he like kind of explained it, like, oh, so they're just like simping over this girl and giving her lots of money for taking pictures in random places, I was just like sitting there like, why the fuck would anybody care about any of this? And like that's just like my entire disconnects with it.
Well, that's what blows my mind about like YouTube and like Instagram and like all these platforms and stuff. Like how some of these people become so huge, like how they're like it is weird. Like because you see a lot of them that and you almost feel weird saying it because it makes you sound like a hater or something. But like, even in the horror sphere, there are so many people that I like that are massively popular or like podcasters or YouTube video makers or whatever that are like super popular. And I'm like, what the fuck do people see in this guy that's like, but a lot of it is a product of timing though, too. Like if you got into the game, it's a lot luck and also just algorithms, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like if you were making videos in 2007 and stuff, you probably have a bigger channel because, your videos are older and plus they probably made themselves into all sorts of different types of algorithms and stuff. And that's why these channels just grow. And that's the shitty thing about YouTube is like, we've talked about this before, where if you're a smaller channel, it's like impossible to grow because all these bigger channels just take over the algorithm and you click on a video and it's just all their videos on the side. Like, there was a time where I remember, I think Zach had told me one time, he's like, if you type in horror update, my videos would just come up right away. But it would never be like that anymore. It would never be like that anymore. Your channel before she knew we were friends. Yeah. But that's my point. Like I'm so buried in the algorithm now. Like, I mean, well, I've gained 5 subscribers in fucking 3 years. It's like, I mean, I never cared about the subscribers anyways. I just wanted people to, just check the videos out. When I found you way back then, the only person that probably had a bigger collection and like bigger thing than you was Cool Duder. Like you were literally like probably number 2. And yeah, there was a couple people I knew that were a little bigger than Moodz, but not as good. So you are my special interest.
what I think happened with your channel, Moodz, is I think that whenever YouTube cracked down on the type of content, I think it buried you in the algorithm.
Well,
And
actually,
because it seemed like it happened right around the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
I used to always see your videos in the sidebars, even when I would not be logged in on my channel, like on a different computer at work or something.
Right.
And I would look up something horror related. Your videos would always be there.
But you're right, though.
I never see them.
Yeah, you're right, though, because there was a period, I don't know, about 6 years ago or whatever it was, when YouTube was cracking down on, when all that shit came out and like all that fucking, all those Nazi videos and blah blah blah, and then all these advertisers were pulling their shit, and then basically YouTube configured their whole system, and they started cracking down on, all my videos were getting flagged even for having horror in the title, and then I was getting my videos were being flagged for my fucking thumbnails, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. You also
had a lot more cussing in your videos.
That was actually that was probably one of the. That was probably way down on the list of reasons why my videos were getting flagged, though, was the cursing. It was
right.
It was the titles, it was the thumbnails.
All together, and
of course,
the intro as well, like the gory intro.
My intros got me fucking in so much shit, and and then when I stopped using the intros, people were like, "Why just?" I'm like, "Man, because I'm fucking sick of YouTube fucking flagging all my videos, man. Like, this is bullshit. It just got irritating to me. Oh, it is. It's so funny too. Like, I actually got a fucking a copyright claim this morning from a video that I did in 2012. And I get them still to this day too. Like, I had an update that I got flagged for the other day, or it was like the other month. It's still flagged. Yeah. And I never fought it because it was an older video, but I just didn't care. But the weird thing I didn't have any music in there. I didn't have any, all I did was show movie cases. Yeah, I got flagged on that one time too. Apparently it's not fair use to show the movie that you bought on a YouTube channel. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, this is crazy talk. But anyways, the video that got flagged was for the music that was in it. But the fucking weird part is I took the music from the YouTube library. Huh. I shit you not. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know.
That's what we call 3D chess.
I'm not gonna bother even dispute. I don't give a fuck about all that shit, man. The video probably never got any views anyways, but I'm just like, what the hell? This song was literally taken from the YouTube library. And it was made on remember the old YouTube editor and stuff? Uh-huh. It was made on that shit. It's complete garbage. It's fucking bullshit. It's just so crazy, how often I'm dealing with this, still. Videos from 10 or 11 years ago? Are you serious? Where does that come from? Fucking YouTube, man. So lame. But yeah, anyways. Definitely. Yeah, so the channel's fucking buried, and Mr. Beast just keeps getting bigger. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast. My kid fucking watches Mr. Beast, and he, he's the product of this time, right? He's all the big YouTubers, he watches it, so he just ruins the algorithm.
I don't even know what he does.
Oh, but to go back to what I was saying with the whole that influencer movie, and Tyler mentioned, he can't stand this generation or whatever. Going back to 2011, one thing that I noticed while watching these is literally how much things changed from 2011 to just 2015. Yeah. Cell phones. Sure. I'm still seeing old ass non-smartphones in 2011. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's nuts. And honestly, also just the style of movie, I'm starting to see similar directing and just the overall aesthetic and style, and even the color grading and the any the lighting and stuff like that seems very similar in a lot of these movies. Yeah.
I feel like I've found way more interesting movies in the 2011 pile than the 2023 pile. A lot more movies that are just trying to do something unique.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I've been watching a lot of the mainstream ones so far, though, so I haven't really dipped into a lot of the indie stuff. There's actually a handful of apocalypse movies.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those. I didn't watch them yet, but I saw a couple of those on the list. One's The Divide, I think, right?
Yeah, The Divide. There's one called Day.
I watched that one. I actually picked up that Blu-ray.
Ashmore in it. Yeah. There's obviously Contagion, Take Shelter.
I watched Take Shelter. That movie was cool.
There's one called Hell, also known as Apocalypse. Yeah.
Right.
Which is forget what country it's from. I actually own that one forever, and I have it under the title Apocalypse because Walmart wouldn't put it out as hell. Just weird.
Oh man,
times were different back in 2011. But yeah, so there's quite a few like apocalypse or like pre-apocalyptic movies out there. I think there's another one too that I can't remember, but yeah, I am pretty much what I'm doing right now with 2011. It's kind of weird, but I'm watching them as they came out. Basically, I have a list of like 80 some movies, and I just put it in order of release date. And I've
fucking guy makes a list of 87 movies and he's going to watch them in chronological release order, but he can't that's fucking 3 movies for fucking Italian month in order.
You want to know how I watched?
Driving me nuts, man. You're driving me nuts.
I watched The Breed, The Pack, Baxter.
You fucking. Jesus,
I watched these in chronological order.
I just don't get it. Like 70s, 80s, and 2000s. Like just go in fucking order.
And I went 2000s, fucking 70s, 80s.
That is fucked. So go figure that you would watch The Breed first, though.
My strategy.
Again, I watched The Breed first because it was on some streaming site. But I actually own The Breed. Yeah, I do, and I own Baxter. I just don't own The Pack.
I didn't own any of these, and they were all on that MD, so that was cool.
Yeah. I actually forgot that I even owned The Breed. I was like, I'm pretty sure I got that. I only have it on DVD though. But
I have the Blu-ray. It's actually one of the first Blu-rays I even bought.
Yeah, it's like 2006, right? So yeah, that's right at that time. It's interesting. Yeah, I think that Blu-ray is actually out of print.
2011.
I think it's actually out of print too. Yeah, I think it is.
Wow.
But yeah, no, the DVD looks like it's from 2006. Like it really does. It just has that muddiness to it. You know, it's just like, it's crazy. I'm like watching the movie going, I bet you this looks so much better on Blu-ray because like of the setting, right? It shouldn't look that muddy, but who knows?
Yeah, it looks good on like that streaming.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Yeah. But I mean, we'll get to The Breed anyways, but but speaking of actually YouTube here, I wanted to I was going to comment back to this, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm just going to read the comment out. I don't know if you guys clicked on the latest video from last week, the Massimo Pupio, but we had a comment on here and it was regarding our conversation about Eli Roth, which always happens. Every time we bring up Eli Roth on this channel, I swear to God, people always have to leave comments about our take on Eli Roth. It's like this always happens, man.
He's one of the most polarizing fucking.
He is.
Him and Rob Zombie.
And I do want to do a disclaimer.
Him and Rob Zombie. It's so funny, like how polarizing those two are. Like you can't just be like, okay, they're fine. Like you have to hate them or fucking.
Right. And I don't want. I want to give a disclaimer here. Like I'm not reading this out to like be hating on the comment. I just wanted to discuss this guy's comment.
It was a good comment.
Yeah, like I wanted to just discuss this comment because like I'm not mad at it's totally fine. Like I love these type of comments, but I thought it'd be a great piece for the show. So anyways, it's from a guy named Hey Fella. His name actually made me laugh. He says, disagree on the Eli Roth take. Hostel to me is one of the most important horror films of the 21st century. The sequel might be even better. Cabin Fever is still a blast and Thanksgiving was a great old meat and potato slasher. Maybe he's a better historian on some level, but he's definitely brings that love to his work. Always appreciated JP holding it down for him. Yeah, well, I mean, if Eli Roth whipped out his dick and put it in JP's face, he'd definitely take a lick. For sure. Because we've always talked about this, man. You love some fucking Eli Roth. Anyways, just go back and listen to the Hostel show, man. Holy shit. JP was going buck wild on that one. Also, the dialogue in Hostel has aged fine. That's just how some guys talked in 2005, and people honestly talk like that now, again, online. Watch any modern comedy podcast. They're all throwing around words like that again. The context matters.
That part's off.
So this is what I wanted to discuss. It says the dialogue is aged fine. I'm like, I don't think so at all. Because even when we did the Hostel show a few years back, I mean, it was, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whatever. We were talking about how the dialogue it's pretty cringy, man. It's pretty cringy. But I'm like, how is that age fine?
I don't think it's cringy. I don't really think it's cringy. Like personally, it really does feel.
To be fair, I will give him like the credit to say like, well, you could say it's age fine in the sense like, yes, this was a 2005 like time capsule. But I think even in 2005, like it's just like it's a little like over the top. You know what I mean? Like it's like almost like a showing off thing.
Yeah.
But
my biggest
personally,
okay, so I just want to say one thing. But the thing I took away from this comment that I thought was so interesting is how he was comparing the dialogue from Hostel from 2005 to like modern comedy podcasts. And I'm like, it's not the same thing. That doesn't even, the context isn't even there, because I mean, if you're listening to comedy podcasts and they're throwing around these type of words and shit like that, it's for jokes. And I don't criticize anybody that tells jokes. Like, you know, I hate these people that take comedians seriously and they're like, oh, fucking, you know, like people that try to shut out Dave Chappelle for, you know, all of, you know, what Dave Chappelle does and stuff like that. He's telling jokes, man. He's telling jokes, right? It's a totally different context. Like you can't throw somebody under the bus for telling jokes. It's a totally different type of thing. Like comparing a serious horror film's language to like a comedian, I think is just so off. I just thought it was very interesting that someone would do that. But I mean, in comedy, anything goes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right?
I agree with that also.
Right.
My take on Hostel is I think that the dialogue does come off dated. I don't think it comes off I mean, maybe a little bit of cringiness, but just because, and it really is just because I feel like when I was growing up in that time period, it feels almost exact to a T with like the college kids that were around and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like I can emphasize with that.
No.
Too. Like,
and we've talked about this many times, and I think like it's definitely a product of its time, because like like everyone's right. Like, I mean, that's how people did talk in 2005. I get that. I'm just saying, when you watch the movie, you know, 15 years later, it's like, well, you know, I mean, it
puts it in perspective, like how we've changed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I do agree with you. I think he's off base on saying that it isn't like dated at all, because it clearly is. Like you look at, like, nobody talks like that really anymore. And in your case, like if he's specifically talking about people being on a comedy show, like trying to be funny, that's not the same context as everyday conversation, right? So I agree with you 100% there. And then also, I just don't think that I think him sort of like saying like, oh, people still talk like that today on different mediums. I just think it's like off base. Like I don't think it's true at all.
I don't think that's true.
But let me read this again, and that's just how. And people honestly talk like that now again online, and I'm like, but the online isn't the real
like
world.
A weird chat where it's just
like,
spamming the N-word or something.
Yeah, it's
online
like if you're in
so,
like some like Reddit Discord.
It's like round 3. It's online. It's not even fucking real life. Like to say that people are talking like that online, it just you know, it goes back to the whole thing where, you know, like back in the day I would sit there and argue with people just for my own pleasure. Like I thought it was so much fun to do that to people. But like the thing is, like I would always tell people, I'm like, man, you're just a name on a screen to me, because
they're not
they're not a real person. You're not a real person.
Yeah.
I love sometimes when I'm in the right mood, just like saying something that I know will just make them mad, and just like respond like, okay.
I would do it purposely. I would comment back to people, and I would just get into arguments with people just for my own fucking amusement.
That's what I mean. It's funny to me that like it means nothing to me, but it's really funny to me that you're getting upset.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm like, bro, you're just a name to me on a screen, and you know I'm real because I make videos. Like, you know I'm a real fucking person. Like, how do I know I'm not just arguing with a bot?
Anybody who's like has their actual profile picture and like actual friends, nobody's talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's always a fucking anime picture or something.
Like I tried this one guy, and he's like, oh, I would fucking say that to your face, and I'm like, no, you wouldn't. You would never ever say what you just wrote as a comment to my face. This is not reality, right?
And the reason why
is crazy,
because people who are capable, like let's say it was a big bodybuilder. Well, big bodybuilders don't talk like that, right?
No.
So the only people that are going to talk like that is people who wouldn't say something like that to your face, right?
Right.
Because generally people who are capable of like handling themselves or like, you know, can fight or anything, they're not assholes typically. Every once
and they're
in a while
not picking fights. They're not going around saying.
Yeah, they're not going on the internet picking fights, threatening they're going to fucking say it to your face.
Oh man.
Also, somebody also said that Massimo Popio, his name is Giuseppe, so that's where the peppy poopy comes from or whatever.
Oh, I actually wanted to bring this up too. So we had another comment from Ad Helix 36. Anyways, he said, I'll be interested to see you guys do some more modern Italian directors in future. Mix things up. He is Giulio De Santi and Damanzio Cristofario. I think it's De Santi. He's the guy that, the Necrostorm dude that did like, all those type of movies and shit. But I actually had
Is that like the Hotel Inferno movies?
Yeah. Like
how many are there's of those?
I think there's 3 now, maybe 4 now.
Maybe we could do that as one of the.
But I actually had this idea a few years ago. I was actually thinking about Necrostorm, and I'm like, and then I ended up doing the other dude, the fake Italian guy. But yeah, if you're listening to this right now, I actually did have these guys in mind for modern because I really did want to do some more modern. And there's other modern Italian directors that we could cover. There's not just these guys and Necrostorm stuff. Like there is other dudes out there. So
yeah. But next year, we're actually going to be doing something different for Italian Horror Month since it's the 10-year anniversary. But it'll be really cool. I think you guys will like what we do.
Yeah, I'm extremely underexplored on modern Italian directors. That is cool.
Yeah, no, I think
it'll be interesting too.
I think it'll be pretty fun. So,
well, we did Onetti last year.
Yeah, but just like that's like one Snapchat of it. I just think like I'm so outdated. Like I'm so far away from like modern Italian directors. I've seen
there's not a ton.
That's what I don't even know. Like if someone said like who's the best modern Italian director, like I wouldn't even know.
Well, not a ton that at least did 3 films. Like there are some, but nowhere near like the guys.
I can think of a few guys right now. I just have to go and just pick out the films and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely some guys out there, but it's just just not as prolific as back in the day. So hence why we do a lot of the older ones too. But that's definitely an idea. And I think when we return to regular programming, we'll probably do some more modern ones and stuff like that. So, yeah, but we're
so almost going to have to be doing modern ones.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, there's a lot of directors that we could do 2s and 3s to. Like someone mentioned, like, are you guys going to do a Lamberto Bava part 2? And I'm like, of course.
We could do a Bava 2. We could do another Fulci.
You could do like as many Bava shows.
We could do a couple. We could do a few more Fulci shows. We could do.
Both of those guys are so deep.
We could do another Bruno Mattei show.
Oh, we could do a fucking bunch of those, man. Yeah.
There's. Most likely we're gonna start hitting more repeats in the coming years. Just based on the fact that we've kind of done so many different people now.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool and like on brand anyway to like go to the deeper cuts of some of these like really well-known filmmakers. Because I feel like a lot of people like won't like you see all the best Fulci films like right when you get into it, but maybe you haven't seen like Fulci's like 7th best film and his 8th best film or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what was fun about doing all the Argentos over the years. Yeah. It's just like getting the full scope of Argento, good and bad.
Right. So since it is Zoology Vol.2, Killer Dogs, like in 22 fashion, I Googled a list, and the first one came up was from Screen Rant, and it says 12 best Killer Dogs movies ranked. Now, I haven't looked at the list yet. So
honestly, there are quite a few Killer Dog movies I like. So.
Dude, it's so funny, man. It's funny you say that because I was thinking that this morning. I was like, man, there's a lot of Killer Dog movies that they've made over the years, and there's a lot of good ones. There actually is a lot of decent films. So I'm like, this is going to be kind of an interesting list.
Yeah, and we can return to dogs in the future too. Zoology Volume 17, Dogs 2.
Right. And I was actually thinking about it too. And like, I own a lot of Killer Dog movies. It must be something.
Not as many Killer Cat movies.
No. It's because people don't like cats.
Killer Dog movies seem hard enough to do. Like Killer Cat movies seem so much harder.
Yeah, if you count like lions and tigers and shit, then you have more Killer Cat movies. But if you're just talking house cats, there's not that many.
Although next week's show is going to be pretty fun. Those are some of the more fun ones. But anyways,
especially Uninvited.
Yeah, dude,
I haven't seen any of those.
Oh my god, they're fun. All right, so 12 best Killer Dog movies ranked. Okay, sweet. It is in going down. Okay, so number 12 is Dracula's Dog from 1978, which is also known as, it should say down here. Yep, Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, which is a pretty fun movie. It's a fun movie.
Have you guys ever seen Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the name of the fucking that like alien the like
Yeah,
sci-fi
like
call it? They're like Zoltan.
It's Zoltan.
I think it is actually. Yeah, it's funny.
It is, yeah. It's...
That's right. Stan Winston did the practical effects on in that movie. That's pretty cool. Yeah, actually, that's a fun one. I believe who released Dracula's Dog? I think Kino actually put this one out. Number 11, which is The Breed. Wow, from 2006.
Yep.
Interesting. Number 10 is Devil Dog, Hound of Hell from 1978. This is a fun one.
We've reviewed that one.
Yeah, movie's fun.
Haven't we? Didn't we do that one?
I think someone definitely talked about that one. It probably has a rating somewhere on the. I don't know. Was it a feature reviewer? I don't remember.
Yeah, wasn't it? Who directed that?
Who did Ravager? I don't know. I don't remember.
Who's the Italian guy that we did that did a killer dog movie?
I don't even remember which one we did. Fuck, man, we've reviewed so many
Was
movies.
it Lindsay?
No.
Monster Dog? Is that what it's called?
Did we do Monster Dog?
The Severin release.
Oh, we did do Monster Dog. Oh, shit.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, we did do Monster Dog. Oh, shit, man. Yeah, with Alice Cooper. Shit.
Yeah, it was weird. That's a weird movie.
That's funny. Yeah, so number 10, Devil Dog, Hound of Hell. That's a fun movie. Number 9 is The Pack from 1977. Get into that in a little bit. Number 8 is, I was expecting to have seen all these movies, and bam, rated number 8. I have not seen this or heard of this. Wow. Trapped from 1973. Oh, it's an ABC movie of the week with Josh Brolin. That makes sense.
What?
That actually sounds
It
interesting.
probably doesn't have a release. That's why, like, a lot of these earlier 70s movies, I mean, obviously they've trickled out over the years on
It's probably
media
right
releases.
on fucking YouTube.
I honestly can't recall like any killer dog movies I've seen.
What is it called? Trapped?
Yeah, Trapped from 1973 with Josh Brolin. I mean, that's a big fucking name. It's crazy.
I think it's possible I'm not gonna have seen any movies on this list except the 3 that we watched.
Huh. Interesting.
I've never seen Cujo. Like I'm assuming that's going to be like high up on the list.
Oh yeah, probably. Number 7 is Man's Best Friend from 1993.
That's actually the one we were going to do instead of Breed.
Right.
I've honestly always wanted to check out that movie just because Lance Hendrick's in it. I like Lance Hendricks.
Yeah, and Ali Sheedy's in that movie too. Strange cast. Number 6 is shit. What the fuck is this? What? It's another one I haven't seen, man. Crazy. Good Boy from 2020. It says it's a part of Hulu's Into the Dark anthology series. So this is like a short on there or something.
No, they were feature length movies.
Yeah, it's probably like the Black Mirror episodes that have been like feature length.
They're all holiday themed though.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like everyone was like a holiday. That would be kind of
Judy Gear's in this movie. Judy Greer.
Ooh,
weird. I have never even heard of this one. That's crazy. Okay. Number 5. Here we go. Cujo from 1983. Of course, that would be on this list. Number 4 is Baxter from 1989. Go crazy. All 3 of these movies turned up on this list. That's interesting. Number 3 is, what the fuck is this? White God from 2014. It says a Cannes Film Festival winner. I don't know this one either. I was not expecting this to happen. 3 movies on this list I have not seen or actually even heard of. Crazy. Have you guys heard of this one? White God?
White God?
Listed as thriller fantasy?
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
As just
Holy
a killer
shit,
dog
there's a lot of dogs in that movie. Holy fuck, bro. The whole street's filled with dogs.
It's a lot of fucking dogs.
It says the bizarre fantasy drama follows the journey of Hagen. Okay, whatever. Okay. Nice. Number 2 is White Dog from 1982.
This is a movie I've wanted to see for a long time.
Oh my
this movie
God.
sounds awesome.
I
like Sam Fuller. Sam Fuller is a good director.
Yeah, trained by his former racist owner to kill black people on sight. That's literally the narrative. This movie is so fucking brutal.
Very racist.
It's very well, yeah. It's the Samuel Fuller movie about race relations.
Yeah,
it's a really good movie though. It packs a lot of
he made a lot of
commentary
angry,
in it.
politically conscious films.
Yeah, it's a very heavy commentary film. So and then number one is crazy. The Hound of the Baskervilles, the 1939 version with Basil Rathbone. Crazy.
I'm surprised they didn't put dogs on there.
Yeah,
that's what I've never seen either. I assume will be on this list.
Dogs
I've
is
always
good.
been interested in that.
Yeah, Dogs is good.
I was shocked to see 3 movies on this list I hadn't seen.
Got a cool poster.
And probably a very, very obscure movie from 70, Trapped, like a TV movie that probably has no release. So that's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, cool list, I guess. I mean,
I'll definitely check out that Trapped movie if we ever pull 73.
Yeah. It's someone do a quick YouTube search. It's probably actually on there.
I would love to pull 73.
73.
Why, dude?
But
73 is not like the best 70s year, I don't think.
Probably not, but my favorite era of movies is like late 60s to late 70s.
Really? That's like
Yeah.
my least favorite.
I love it. And there's a banger of a movie in 1973 that I know about.
I don't think it's actually on here. I see the trailer. Made for TV movie Monday trailer. Shit. Well, that's interesting. Well, that is disappointing. Oh, it just sounded interesting.
There it is. It's on YouTube.
Oh, it is on YouTube?
Nope, that's a different one.
Yeah, I saw a different movie on there. Well, that's annoying.
I'm sure it's somewhere online. Dave probably has it.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, those are interesting dog movies. I can't think. The only one I can think of that wasn't on there was Dogs.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, dude. I'm like trying to think of like the actual good ones, but yeah, that was like very specific to like actual dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's, yeah, because Dogs is what? Yeah, from 77. Did you ever see, I guess, kind of like the loose remake that IFC put out a few years back called The Pack?
I haven't. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay. It's not really a remake. It kind of is, but isn't though. It's kind of like a name and only kind of thing. Oh yeah, Dogs of Hell from 83. There's that one too. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, Killer Dogs. You guys have anything else?
Nope.
Woof woof.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, with that said, I guess that's going to conclude the intro, and we'll be back here in 2 moments to talk about some killer dog films. All right. Yeah.
Yo, who this?
Yo, Moodz, it's your boy, the ill-mannered funky child, calling you to remind you that the featured reviews on this episode contain spoilers.
Aw, yeah, man, that's right, brother. Thanks for the heads up, player. Now go back to being an unproductive asshole.
Fuck you. I tell your listeners to stop being so dumb, silly, sensitive.
Yeah.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, so getting into the featured reviews here on episode 247, Zoology Vol.2, Killer Dogs. All right, so we're going to take it back to the 70s, specifically 1977 with a movie called The Pack, which is so oddly directed by Robert Klaus. I always find it so interesting that this guy's filmography is like so bizarre. Right, because if you guys are familiar with the name, he directed Enter the Dragon, which is, super, super popular.
That was the first thing I noticed when I looked up this movie. The other man, Enter the Dragon, made this.
Yeah, I know, right? And like only like years later too. Like so after he did Enter the Dragon, he did Black Belt Jones, which I always love that movie too, man. That's a fun film. Yeah, I did like blaxploitation films and like horror films, and like he was all over the place, man. Of course, he did Game of Death with Bruce Lee also. He also directed Battle Creek Brawl, which is a fun one. Force 5. You ever seen Force 5 from 81?
I've only seen Game of Death Enter the Dragon and this movie from him.
Okay, so he did Deadly Eyes, the killer rat movie. In
Oh,
1982.
Deadly Eyes! Oh my god, I misheard you. I've seen this too. Yeah,
That's the one where they have like little wiener dogs dressed up as rats, bro.
Yeah, but it works. It just does. It somehow works, and it's it's dark, and it's got Scatman and Crothers, and it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Like he's done some. He's all over the place, man. He did those China O'Brien films. He did Ironheart in '92, which is like his last one and stuff. But he's like all over the fucking place, man. He's gonna be an interesting director, but yeah, like he did a killer dog movie and a killer rat movie. How many directors can say that they did that? That's interesting, right?
Cool.
And worked with Bruce Lee a couple times.
And worked with Bruce just casually. Made probably the best Bruce Lee movie.
Like it's just so bizarre. So bizarre. All right, so the pack synopsis here. The residents of a vacation spot, Seal Island, find themselves terrorized by a pack of dogs, the remnants of discarded pets by visiting vacationers. Now, what kind of fucking people and how many people, like there's a lot of shitties out there, man. Who the fuck like picks up a dog from the pound, fucking plays with it for a summer and then just leaves it on an island? Like who fucking does this shit?
Dude, it's like,
absolutely no one. Nobody does that.
Like it just seems so unrealistic to do something like this. Like
when he said that, I was like, "That's not right." But we're just.
But it's not like one asshole family was like, "Well, we don't need old Sparky anymore. We're just gonna leave him here." It was like there's like fucking 40 dogs.
Yeah, it did not make sense at all. I could see if it was like they abandoned like 2 and they like bred over years and like decades or something. If it's something like that, but the first like initial thought, right? Watching this is like, and watching all 3 of these, really, I'm like, it's kind of like a touchy thing to make movies about dogs because how much because right away I'm pissed off while watching the movie, like because of what they did. Like he's just like, oh, just tie it up here, he'll get free eventually. And I'm like, no, he won't, you fucking asshole. He might not.
I know.
He might starve to death and die.
That's the first thing I thought too. I was like, what kind of fucking asshole would tie up a dog in the bush and then assuming he's going to get free? But what happens if he doesn't? He just dies on a leash. Like that's fucked.
It's like so cruel, dude. And
dude,
that's
what
made me think about. Like,
so sad. It's so sad. Like the kid's like crying. He's like bawling, and I'm like, oh my god, this like they just leave this dog tied up to a fucking tree. Of course, the dog chews itself, but like they set it up nice.
No, it
though.
Doesn't.
They what's that?
It doesn't chew itself off.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That dog chews himself or chews the rope off. Yeah, it does.
No, he's at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's at the end of the movie?
They find him at the end of the movie tied up.
Oh, no. He does chew himself. He gets caught again.
No, he gets caught again in that part. That's why he can't. That after the end scene with all the killer dogs, that dog again. He gets caught up again on the leash.
Yeah,
that's why they basically get him, right?
Oh.
So in the beginning of the movie, so he does because throughout the film, right? Because throughout the film, like he actually does chew himself, and like he separates himself because he's got the leash on him, right? And then he kind of finds his way to this killer pack and they accept him and stuff, but he's not like them. He's not a feral dog yet because, he just got left. And, but they kind of set it up like it's interesting. Like you don't expect to watch a killer dog movie and expect like a roller coaster of like emotions and stuff. But like the movie starts out super sad, but it sets it up quite nice.
Well, that's why I was saying it's like kind of touchy to do the killer dog movie because of, out of all the animals, like people are like, you hear it all the time. People care more about the animals dying than the humans in the movies, right?
Yeah,
totally.
It really bugs people.
Just like by the nature of like killing dogs.
Yeah, and like so, it's like kind of like you really have to make them like complete monsters to make it work. You know what I mean? Because it's like that's why like even Baxter is like kind of cute,
But it's almost like a commentary on like how shitty humans can be. Like, are you serious? You're just gonna
most of these
pick a dog up from the pound. But then what's worse, them euthanizing the fucking dog, or you just leaving it on an island to turn feral and then fucking just go rapid and kill people? And like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with people, man? Like, it's the craziest shit to me, man.
See, like when he said that, I kind of excused that part and said like that didn't happen. Like, but I do believe like on this little island. Like that's like, and they do a really good job in this movie of making the island look like big and desolate with all these like long like landscape shots or just forests and shit. Mm-hmm. So like it kind of does make you like put yourself in the realm of believability that like there could be like feral dogs on this island that like eventually just form a pack like this.
Right.
Well, my thing is like for me, like people do drop off animals. Like it's as fucked up as it is. Like I assume all of us are dog fans here. I know Moodz is. But I see stuff all the time on like Facebook and stuff of like people just leaving like boxes of puppies on the side of the road that somebody like checks the box and sees puppies in it. And it's like, just because the people don't feel like dealing with them. And then I read, I don't know if this is true, but I read that like shelters and like pounds and stuff like that get like an influx of older dogs around Christmas time because people like give their dogs away to get a new puppy, which I can't even imagine that's real. Like I'm like, what?
That's so fucked up.
No,
like you obviously have no emotional connection to your dog if you're gonna upgrade to a puppy. Like,
well, like
I don't
like
even
keeps a dog.
It's not a fucking DVD to a Blu-ray, man. Come on. Like,
I don't know how people don't get an emotional connection to your dog. It's impossible. I can't fathom it. It's just like everybody got to be sociopaths because
no, I know it
dogs
makes no sense.
are so amazing. Like they love
Nobody
you no
cares
matter
for an
fucking
animal
what,
like
dude.
that for years and then just dumps it off. Like that's just not a thing.
But like, what kind of monsters like basically rent out a dog? Right? They rent out the dog like they're renting out the fucking cottage on the island. They just leave it. Like, who the fuck? Like, I hadn't watched this movie in a while. I'm like, oh my God, like people are fucking horrible.
That's
Humans
why
are
I just
fucking
excused that comment. I was like, that guy's just talking. Like he's not correct.
Like it's just so unfathomable to do that, man. You know what's so funny about this movie too? I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I think one of the very first scenes where they show the rabid, well, not the rabid, but the feral pack of like killer dogs and shit. I don't know if you guys, but there's like a littler dog in there in one of the shots, and it's so funny. It's like this little like
it looks so it looks like a little poodle or a terrier or something,
right? Because they had to use like a ton of different dogs in the making this film and stuff like that. So obviously that one scene they had like a smaller, but he's not really in the rest of the movie. But there's another scene towards the end where he's like, they must have filmed those together or whatever. But I just thought that was so funny because like really like a little fucking dog. Like feral dog, like it's almost comical at that point. But they don't really focus on it, so it's kind of funny.
They took whatever they could get for trained dogs.
I just feel like a movie like this is such a product of its time because like these type of movies don't really get made anymore because obviously working with animals is such a pain in the ass.
There's way more regulations.
There's so much regulations now,
hard.
and there's PETA, and there's just so much you got to do. And you can working with animals is like working with kids though too, right? You can only work with them for a couple hours a day, and it's harder to shoot. And it's obviously when you're dealing with animals, everything's not going to be perfect and shit like that too. So. But speaking of working with animals, fun fact: Rin Tin Tin, the famous German Shepherd dog, was nominated for an Academy Award. Wow. Oh, like there's so much time and effort put into this because when you're dealing with unpredictable animals and shit like that, like a lot of training goes involved and stuff. And like, you know, I mean, what they do with these animals is incredible to get them to do what they're doing in the film. Like that scene where Buddy's wife is in the car and the dogs are tearing apart the rag top. Like that shit is fucking terrifying, man. Like those dogs are literally really on the car attacking the shit out of that vehicle. Like she was really in there. Like that is fucked. Like that must have been terrifying to film.
Phenomenal dog acting and
it is so. I don't think people appreciate these type of films for the, you know, behind the scenes. Like they had to train these dogs to do this shit, and it's fucking terrifying. Like they didn't.
Yeah, when you got like
cutaway shots, they didn't use cutaway shots in that scene.
Like at the same time.
This movie,
that's some hell coordination.
Like there's no cutaway shots in that scene.
With like these dogs, like this massive pack of dogs just running around. I remember thinking like this must have been so hard.
It would have been like honestly terrifying.
But that's the thing about dogs, though; they can be trained so precisely. Too.
Yeah.
That's why you can work with dogs easier than a lot of other animals.
It's almost like it's almost like a touchy thing though too, like to train a dog to be that vicious, but like, you know, because you're not training them to be vicious in like a malicious way. It's for like an acting job kind of thing.
It's scary, bro. Because dogs are frightening. If you've ever came face to face with like a mean, angry dog, bro, like it is fucking terrifying.
The dog that they chose as the pack leader in this was such a great choice, man. And I like what they did. I don't want to say they tied his fucking, you know, his upper lip, you know, back kind of thing. Like they obviously did that, right? To make it look like he's always fucking, you know, showing his teeth and stuff like that. Because I think you can almost see the lines on his face to where it's like almost peeled back and stuff. Yeah. because there is scenes where like it almost looks like he's smiling. There's actually one scene in this film that made me laugh when the dude sitting by the window and all of a sudden the dog like pops his head up and it looks like he's just hugely smiling because you can't hear him. He's behind the window. Fuck, that scene made me laugh, man.
Dude, we had a whole family of dogs that like smiled, bro. It was so cool. Like we had Lucky was like the mom, and like I had a puppy, like my cousin had like everybody had a dog in my family from this one dog, and they all grew up smiling, bro. It was just so cool.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but like honestly, dude, like the trainers need a pat on the back for what they accomplished with these dogs, because they trained a lot of dogs for this. Like it's like something like 30 dogs or some shit. And
there's a lot of dogs.
That's a lot of dogs, man.
And there's a lot of carnage in this movie, man. And like those attack scenes, man, with the dogs on the people is fucking brutal, man. Like that car scene is terrifying, dude. Like I don't care what anyone says, man. If you're that actress and you're in that car, like you can see the terror on her face. Like that's real fucking terror, man. Because those dogs are giving her, man. I'm just like blown away by that scene. It's so incredible. So incredible. That's why, like, you know, not having CG fucking animals just works. It's just so much more effective, right? You know, and pretty much all these movies don't really have. I mean, I think there's a moment here and there in the breed, but like for the most part, they used real animals when they had real trained dogs and stuff like that. I mean, there's a scene in the breed where they obviously had to CG the one part, but like not in like, and obviously back in the 70s, there's none of that, but like, you know, they do it well. Like even when the scenes where they kill some of the dogs and stuff, like they don't like maliciously like focus on the death of the dog and stuff. Like they kind of get to the point, like they kill the dog and then, you know, it cuts away kind of thing. Right. You get the point.
Yeah. They do that in the breed too, kind of.
Yeah. Like it's almost like you're
really like focus on the dog death.
Yeah, it's almost like you're just, you're kind of giving it a little bit of respect, right? You don't need to focus on and treat the animal like a fucking piece of meat and shit like that.
Well, like I said, dogs are touchy subjects, man. People fucking love dogs.
And there's some nasty deaths in the breed though. Like there's some fucking brutal ones in that one. Yeah. But yeah, no, this movie it's done really well. I really like this movie. It cracks me up because it has like the most stereotypical fucking older white male type attitudes and shit. Like everyone just fits that role of like this secluded island and like the way they talk and the way like they're fishermen and like, you know, you got that crazy old man who's like, I'm gonna go and paddle to the mainland. Like, of course he's gonna say that because he figures he can fucking actually do that. There's no way he's gonna be able to do that shit. Like it just makes me laugh. It's so stereotypical type characters, but
and like this movie feels like perfect 70s era nature run amok. Like it just has like all the beats that you expect from these type of movies. Like the pacing's good. It has like all the practicals, all real dogs. Like you always expect that in the 70s and 80s with these animal attack movies and stuff like that. It's just quintessential. Like it's nothing like spectacular in terms of story or anything like that. But if you are a fan of nature run amok movies, as I am, love them. This one, I've never seen this before, but this one is like great. Like it's an amazing killer dog movie.
It really is, man. And you're right though. Like it's got a good cast. Like Jodan Baker does a great job as a lead in this film. Like he always has like this kind of like standing bitch face look to him. He always looks super mean, but then he does smile throughout the film. It's weird.
He looks like he's the guy that perpetually, like in this era, should just be like a PTSD Vietnam vet. He just always stop.
But the role fits him perfectly to be like, you know, in charge. He's kind of like the sheriff or whatever.
Yeah, he's cast well here.
Yeah, he's totally cast well. He's perfect for the role. But
dude, how about the fucking guy that like jumps off the cliff? Bro?
I was gonna ask you guys. So, what would you choose, being eaten by dogs or jumping off the fucking cliff to your death?
I'm fighting.
I'm jumping. I'm fighting.
I was
okay. So
we got
this
one.
is the shitty part about jumping, though. You can jump and just like smack your head and like break your arm and shit. Or like your legs, and you can't go anywhere.
And then the dogs are just going to come around.
And then, like now, not only are you like suffering, now these dogs are finally going to get you and eat you anyway, and you can't fight back anymore.
The thing that made me laugh about that scene though is like he's like that. He's a total fucking stereotypical. Like I hate my father. Like he does this. He always talks down to me. Blah blah blah. He's like this fat nihilist or something like that. Yeah. He looks like fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I was gonna say he looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman in the 90s.
Doesn't he? He totally fucking does.
He looks like fucking Boogie Nights.
He does look like fucking Boogie Nights. It's so funny, but like his character's so irritating to me. I'm like, you know, like he's obviously terrified of this whole dog situation stuff, but he's feel like he's being done wrong by his dad and shit. So he's gonna go cry outside and shit. Like, are you really gonna go outside and wander off like that? Like when you know these fucking killer dogs are out there and shit. And I'm like, this guy got exactly what he deserved, man. He's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot, anyways. But I don't know.
It looked like they used the dummy though, bro. It looked like they did some.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah. It looked like somebody actually jumped and then they just filmed someone dead on the ground or something.
It actually
looks like a real person. Like they probably just lined it over a cliff.
Yeah, it's some kind of camera angle.
Yeah, where there's like a lot more water and like, you know, like that big, like you guys ever seen like that big float thing that like you see at like summer camps that people jump into?
The blob,
like,
bro.
Yeah, they put a blob at the bottom and probably had some dude jump into it and then they just were like, oh, I'm dead.
Well, I mean, to be honest.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. I didn't want to say like you guys ever seen Heavyweights.
Heavyweights is fun.
Heavyweights is a classic.
I love Heavyweights. It's on Disney Plus.
Ben Stiller's a fucking nutcase.
Yeah,
I actually have that DVD, man.
He plays the exact same guy from like Happy Gilmore, just as like a camp counselor.
Dude, they actually say that they say that continuity, Heavyweights and Dodgeball, he's the same person. Like
they were probably, dude, like there's 3 movies. They're probably just like, can you do exactly that?
Right.
Oh, by the way, fun fact, a dog's nose print is unique, much like a person's fingerprint.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it so funny, like when he jumps off the cliff in that part, because like, I mean, if he had to just jump like 2 feet over, he probably would have just landed right in the water. It just seems like he just like, oh, we're going for the big rock.
That guy didn't look very athletic, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my God.
The sound it makes too when he hits, it's like a balloon pop. It's pretty funny.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I just like why I just love this era for killer animal movies, man. Like you'll just never see them done ever again like this.
No, like there's so many good ones.
Sad and like, you know, obviously as film fans, we love the history, we love the learning about films, we love like just films in general. But like when we say that like, oh, you couldn't make that nowadays, there are like a select few things that we will literally never get movies like it again, like in any way. Like a lot of the car crashes and chases, you're just never going to see it practical again, ever. You know what I mean? Like think I'm like Road Warrior or something, you know? And killer animal movies are the same way. So like whenever I watch ones that I've never seen and really dig them, it like gets me excited. Cause
there's so many good ones in the 70s, man. Like Day of the Animals, that's another great one.
Day of the Animals, Food of the Gods, that's 80s. Is that 70s? No, that's
70s. In 70s. 76.
No, I mean, even when we did Cockroaches, like Bug, that one was fun. But yeah, I love killer animal movies. They just always work for me so well. That's why I like these zoology shows too.
Oh, this is kind of an interesting thing. So the animal trainer, Carl Lewis Miller, he kept the dogs used in this film on a special diet of dry dog food and vitamins for several months to make them appear thin and hungry. 35 dogs were trained for the film.
See, you couldn't do that now. You couldn't make your dog skinnier for a
That's
role.
what I'm saying. That's why I was reading this out. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So like 35 dogs were trained to portray the 15 dogs in the pack. Each of the dogs in the film had a body double. Josh, the lead dog, had been in an animal shelter rescue for years before appearing in the film. That's interesting.
What?
That's interesting. So they gave
That's
him
crazy.
a second leash on life, I guess. So.
Second leash on life. That's
right.
Fucking
that was
clever. Are you fucking dropping fun facts, bro?
Wow, man. This movie originally had a PG rating. For some reason, studio wanted an R.
Dropping fun facts.
That's funny. It's funny.
You hearing this shit?
Charles Heston was offered the lead in this role. I'm glad that Heston didn't take the lead in this one.
That would have been kind of awesome, though.
I like Heston in some things, but like I think he did a great job in this film.
I've seen Heston as a Mexican. He could do it.
Right. in the days when they always cast white people to play all these type of roles.
Yeah, like there's a really famous Orson Welles film. He's like literally a Mexican, and I just every time I watch him, like, so we're just gonna ignore this, right?
Fun fact: a dog's nose has 3 million receptors, whereas humans have about 5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got better sniffers, man.
Yeah.
So I felt like my favorite part about this movie is I felt like this movie like really did atmosphere well, and I thought like it really did a good job of setting like this like really rustic, like desolated, isolated island town. I thought that was like really cool. And just like watching it now when it's like cold and crappy right now, it really did give me that feeling. It's like just that windy, cold, like damp, wet, like atmosphere, especially with like a lot of those night shots. So
yeah,
I
like
thought
coastal island.
Yeah, exactly. And like it really like that like made like, and because it's like this isolated island, I think like that's where you can really do a story like this where it's actually can make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's a brutal part in the film is when the blind dude's dog gets fucking killed, and then the pack fucking breaks in the house and then kills him. But it makes sense because like the guy would have been useless without his dogs. Like, 'cause they actually make a point of saying that in the film where, you know, he really relies on his dog and stuff. So like to let him live in the film would actually be even probably more mean than killing off the old blind guy.
Yeah. Oh, and fun fact, Moodz, since you mentioned blind, did you know blind and deaf dogs can still hunt because their noses can sense heat and thermal radiation?
Well, the senses are heightened, right? You lose one sense and the other ones are heightened. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but their senses are heightened before
but could you imagine how heightened they're after that though? That's crazy.
Yeah, probably a lot more.
Right. Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Dogs
fun
are
fact.
fascinating animals. Did you just like Google this, or did you like
dog?
What are you talking about, bro?
He's dropping knowledge over here about very specific stuff with dogs.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh man. Yeah.
What else with the pack? Yeah, that dude, the dude that gets attacked by like the fucking 4 dogs at night, like, dude, like, that guy got fucked.
I was like, well, of course they had to kill the old guy off because like he couldn't do anything without his dog, right? So because they made a point of that, I'm like, well, they got to viciously kill him. But yeah, that killing is nasty, dude. Like I just can't, like rewatching this film, I never really noticed like how well shot the scenes are with the dogs and shit. Like it's just incredible. Yeah, the things that these dogs were trained to do. Like it's incredible, man. Like right down to like the scene in the I guess what you want to call it, the cabin or the house or whatever, where I don't know where they get this bright idea. Like we're just going to freaking trap him in the house and then set the fucking place. It's so fucking brutal to me, man. It is so nasty. Like where do you come up with that idea instead of just like picking them off one by one? Like we're going to blow the motherfucker up.
Yeah. Like off the top, I was like, fuck it. We're going to have to blow up the house. But
I still think the most shocking thing about this movie is like how the leader dies. Like it's just so bizarre. Right, like this thing was like a truly like he was going out, man. He was going out on his own fucking terms.
He had to get his own death because it was like
right.
You have to remember he was the leader. He was the special one.
But it's just like he did it purposely though. He's like, yep, no, my time's coming here. I'm going out on my own terms, so I'm gonna go for a little jolt here. But man,
I don't blame him.
Like it's just such a fucking bizarre scene. Like I just would have never saw that coming. Right, it's crazy, But the movie, you know, I mean, ends kind of on a downer, but then it picks right back up at the end of the, you know, when they get that dog with the leash and stuff. It's pretty cool, man. I really enjoy this film, man. It runs perfect timing. Like someone mentioned, the pacing the film, it's paced really well. It never has like any downtime at all, except for maybe like the freaking Philip Seymour Hoffman character whining and crying and shit like that. But it all ends happy for the viewer. Anyways, with him, I seem to think so. Anyways, but.
Yeah,
man.
One thing though about this movie, I did think I think it would have been better off that utilized more like kind of like regarding that scene with like the Philip Seymour Hoffman guy. Yeah. I think it's like way scarier and like way more believable that you're out in the middle of the wilderness and this pack of fucking dogs just comes running at you when you have no defenses, you have no shelter. I think like the concept of that is so scary, and you don't have to like go into this territory where they're like almost like launching a siege on the house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I just, man, dude, it'd be so frightening to be in any position in this, like a pack of fucking like feral dogs, dude. Could you imagine? Like that's so fucking scary, dude. Because I mean, people know how vicious dogs can be, but like when they're in that state, though, man, I just think they did such a phenomenal job with the training in this. It's just, it really does steal the show. It's just incredible because like they didn't really have to fancily, edit this film and stuff. Like there's long shots of these dogs doing these things. It's just fucking crazy, dude. Like the scene where the one dude where he's in the truck there and he's kind of ripping around and he's trying to hit the dogs, and the dogs are attacking the vehicle and like, dude, I'm like those scenes are fucking nuts because like
yeah, dude.
In theory, like, I mean, he was seconds away from running over these dogs in real life. Like it's fucking crazy, man. There's so many crazy shots in this film. I'm just like blown away. Training's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos on the filmmakers, man. There's a lot of effort put into this shit. So, but yeah, it turns out really well. It's a really good fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys have on this one?
Who's first?
We'll go with Saucedo first.
Okay. Yeah, this one is pretty good. I think it gets a little out of hand at the end, where I would have like preferred like something like I was saying, where it's like people trapped in the wilderness, or they kept it more in like that realm of like them having shelter and like the dogs like forming a siege on the house basically. But I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was like really atmospheric and did a good job with that to capture a specific feeling. It's something I'd probably watch again. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
JP.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Actually surprised that I've never seen this because I have watched a ton of killer animal movies like from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even some of the ones from the Sci-Fi Channel in the 2000s. Like that Man-Eater series.
Right.
I've seen a couple of those. But yeah, I mean, I think that the worst aspect of this movie is just like the story and the whole like island, like people dropping their dogs off. Like it seems a little far-fetched. But other than that, I mean, it's a blast. It's good. It's good classic, 70s, I guess, sort of post Jaws sort of rip off type thing. I mean, not necessarily directly ripping off Jaws, but we had a influx of killer animal movies after Jaws. So I'm giving it an 8. And also, fun fact, the name collie means black because collies once tended black-faced sheep.
Wow. I like how you threw that in there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always really enjoyed this one. Rewatching it was such a fun rewatch. It was just, like I said, I was focusing so much on the actual dogs and just their movements and how they were trained and stuff. I was just blown away. I just still think one of the most polarizing and terrifying scenes is the scene with the wife in the vehicle, man. That scene, it just goes on and on and on. And like those dogs are literally tearing that vehicle apart. Like it's fucked to watch. It's crazy. I just enjoy that shit, man. Cause it's just like, there's no fancy editing. It's just these dogs just terrorizing the shit out of her. Like that would be fucking scary as hell, man. So, but overall good movie. Like, as you know, we mentioned the narrative and it's just like, it kind of makes you shake your head, but you're like, I wouldn't put it past any fucking, certain humans to do that shit because we're awful people. So, but yeah, it's a little bit far-fetched, but I'm also coming in at an 8 out of 10 on this one. It's a really good movie. Definitely check it out if you have not already. Highly recommended. Yes, and that is the pack from 1977.
42 shots.
All right, so getting into the second film here, episode 247, and we're going to take it back to 1989 with a film called Baxter. This was actually Dave's pick for this show. Dave is obviously not on the show, but this is one that I had actually never heard of. So I'd never seen it. I'd never heard of this movie. I don't know how I'd never heard. It's just so... It's not very often where somebody mentions a film and I'd had no idea what it was. So, and had you guys ever heard of this film before?
I'd heard of it, that long list of cult films I have that I keep mentioning this was on it. That's why I was really excited when it came up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I knew nothing about this one. I was just shocked, and then I was even more shocked that it actually had a decent release through Scorpion and stuff like that. I was like, shit, crazy. JP, did you know about this one?
I picked up the Blu-ray for this show. I don't think I ever heard of this one. And to be honest, I had seen the cover before and I always thought that it was like, oh, that looks like, I'm not sure if that's like a horror movie or not, because like it doesn't really indicate that. And then the plot even sounds like it might, and even the film itself isn't like explicitly horror, but it definitely is in the killer dog category. It's a fucking art house movie, bro.
This movie fucking ruled.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna fucking love this
movie,
dude. This movie
is so good.
Okay, so we'll give a quick little synopsis here. It says a white bull terrier named Baxter is given to an elderly late woman by her daughter. As time passes, the dog develops aggressive and murderous behavior in order to be adopted by another family. You know, the one thing in the narrative I never understood about this movie, why the daughter gave her mom a dog when the mom didn't want a dog. Like, why would you give a dog to somebody that doesn't want a dog? Like, she makes that like very prevalent. Like, she just doesn't want the dog. Like, it's like such a weird part of a narrative. Like, who would ever just give an animal to somebody that doesn't want it? Makes no fucking sense to me.
Wasn't his problem anymore.
I don't know. I just find that, like, would you give your mom a fucking animal that she doesn't want?
What I know.
It's just weird. It's just such a weird setup to a film. I'm like, okay. But like, this whole movie is so strange. Like, it's kind of narrated from Baxter the dog. Like, he voices over the film and stuff like that, which is kind of an interesting way of, progressing the plot and stuff like that. I like hearing it. Almost comes off like very naive because it's from a dog's point of view. And I really like that too.
Oh yeah, it totally comes off naive. But it's weird though, because some stuff isn't naive.
I know.
Like, it's some stuff like he knows about, and then other shit he's like confused about.
I just like how he's like super perverted too. Like, he's, he smelled the sex and he wants to check out the sex and stuff. And it's just like, there's certain things about Baxter's character that's just so bizarre.
I like that he's like embarrassed for fucking the little poodle dog or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
He's like ashamed at himself.
I seriously think the most bizarre thing about this film is not really the Baxter character. It's this fucking, so we have like this coinciding plot, this kind of side plot, I guess, the other part of the plot.
Well, you got kind of like three plots. Like, it's almost like an anthology.
It is. It's so strange. Yeah. Like, we get introduced to this like 12-year-old kid who has a fascination with being at this garbage dump and stuff. And he comes across like some shit on like Hitler, and he becomes obsessed with basically what Hitler was doing, with the bunker, and he builds his own bunker and shit like that. And becomes obsessed with like Eva Braun and shit like that. And he's got this whole thing. It's just so bizarre that like a 12-year-old French kid would become obsessed with Hitler, and the kid himself is kind of psychotic, and it's like really fucking strange. And then you get mixed up with like Baxter, who's becoming craziness, and oh fuck, the narrative in this movie is so bizarre. And
then what movie this reminded me a lot of?
What's that?
Angst.
A little bit, yeah. With the narration,
I could see that.
Yeah. It made me feel like it was like Angst with the dog. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I did not know what to expect from this because it's labeled on IMDb as a comedy first and drama then horror. And like, to be honest, there is some funny parts in this. I wouldn't say it's like laugh out loud funny. It's more dark. It's very dark humor.
It's black comedy.
I mean, some of the voiceovers from the dog, like you can't help but kind of chuckle at it because it's just ridiculous.
It's like almost scary because maybe I just don't understand French, obviously, but like he sounds so menacing. Like anytime he talks, and it's like It's always just sound. There's something unsettling about it. Like I think that's like really like my most relation to angst that I kept picking up with this. But it was so effective for me.
It was. I like how they set it up to like, basically have him kill the old lady and stuff because he wants out of that relationship, right? He wants someone else to hook up with and shit. Like it's just such a dark idea to kill off somebody so you can go live with someone else, kind of thing, right? Yeah. I love that whole idea. So he offs this old lady and stuff, and
it was like weird because she like doesn't like him, and then she does, and then she's like trying to bath with him and shit. Like he's all like cuddled up on the edge of the bathtub, and it's like it's I don't know, it's like weird.
That scene is so bizarre. Why would you like? I even wrote that down too. I'm like, who takes a bath with their dog?
She was lonely.
It's so strange. It's so strange. But anyways, so he kills off the old lady, and then he gets adopted by this younger couple. She's pregnant. They end up having a baby.
The good time. The good. What was it? The good days.
The good days, yeah. So he gets adopted by this family and this younger couple and stuff. She has a baby, and like in a really strange and twisted kind of turn of events, which I still cannot explain. But anyways, like he's with this family for a little bit. They have the baby, and of course, like, you know, I mean, it doesn't really show overly too much because, like, in real life, dogs do get jealous of like newborn babies and things like that and stuff. They don't really go heavy into that and stuff. But there's a scene where he obviously doesn't like the kid, and they kind of set it up where he's going to possibly drown the baby. But in a turn of events, he actually ends up saving the baby, and he gets the boot for that. So can you guys explain that to me? What happened?
So I think what it is that the girl got really paranoid about just everything and just wanted the baby to be safe and didn't want to take any risks with the dog being around.
The risk was them fucking dumbass parents who left a fucking baby in the backyard with an open pond.
They almost pet cemeteried the baby, bro.
But I'm like scratching. I'm watching Baxter going, did he just get the boot for saving the baby? I'm like, this is the weirdest turn of events ever.
Well, the guy even says like he saved him. If it was up to me, we would.
Exactly. It's just like the wife got so uncomfortable, or like the wife maybe like kind of back of mind, like it's his fault for it in the first place. Like maybe I was thinking.
I don't think it's that. I just think.
Well, like either way, it's like anyone.
She had a scare, and and a newborn baby being around a dog is kind of, you know, especially like a breed like that.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly after that, and anyone who's been in a long-term relationship knows, like if she's got her sticking point, then it is what it is.
Yeah. It's just a really weird turn of events that, like, you know, the hero gets the boot kind of thing. But anyways, he gets adopted again by this 12-year-old. His parent, it's his birthday and stuff. So they basically adopt this dog for his birthday and shit. And they have this connection because they're both kind of psychotic and shit like that. And it just goes. But
finally a human like me.
Like this kid is the funny thing about the kid is like he totally does change when he becomes obsessed with Hitler. Like I don't think he's that boy before he finds these like Nazi propaganda stuff on Hitler, and then he kind of investigates and then
that shit reminded me of Apt Pupil.
Right,
that's such a good underrated movie,
dude. I was actually thought the same thing. That's really crazy.
I mean, I was talking about the book. I've never seen the movie.
The book is better than the movie, and the movie is still really good.
Yeah. But I love the fact that this kid actually like plans out his bunker. He builds Hitler's bunker. Like they actually has blueprints for it. He builds his fucking bunker in this junkyard. And then he builds like a fucking kill zone, and he's like training Baxter to like kill and shit. And he actually tries to kill a kid in the fucking movie. And I love that's my favorite part in the movie too. Baxter's like, I'm not killing.
Baxter
I kill for reasons. I kill for reasons. I have nothing against
this
old
kid. Ladies, man. I don't even kill a kid.
He's like, I have nothing against this kid. I'm not going to kill him. That scene just made me laugh. I was like, oh no, there's the comedy in the film.
I always
started laughing so hard.
He has principles. He always had reasons to kill.
Right. And like this kid is just psychotic, man. He's like trapping his fucking schoolmate in this thing. Oh my god, dude! I was like howling at this part. I was like, oh my god, this is so psychotic, man.
Howling? You mean more like yawning? Fun fact: did you know that dogs are also contagious with yawns?
I believe that actually because Bonnie, one of my dogs, she yawns all the time after I yawn. So.
Yeah, research shows that the sound of a human yawn can trigger one for dogs, and it's 4 times more likely to happen when it's the yawn of a person your pet knows versus one that they don't.
That's actually quite interesting.
Wow, thank you.
So did you guys? So when the kid or when the girl becomes friends with our boy, what is this fucking name in the movie? I can't remember.
Little Hitler.
Yeah, Little Hitler. We'll just call him Little Hitler. When she befriends him and stuff, and they start hanging out a little bit and shit like that. Did you think that like he was going to pull the whole cyanide thing with her? Because like they were but
that would have been so fucking cool.
I did actually. I did think that because he was going to act out like the whole damn thing.
Like I don't know if this was him trying to pick up her at first, but he's like, "Hey, you look like Ava Braun," and she's like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, Hitler's girlfriend." She's like, "Oh, is that supposed to be funny?"
She didn't look like her at all.
No, she didn't look like her at all. But it was just like, who says that to somebody? Like, you look like Ava Braun. I'm like, what the fuck? That's the funniest shit ever. I was like, oh my god.
What is this? French?
Yeah, it's French. So like,
Man,
so
that fucking kid's a weirdo, and the girl's even a fucking weirdo. Like everybody acts so weird in
speaking of
in
weird
fucking
shit,
French movies, man.
speaking of fucking weird shit, man. Okay, you know the scene in the film where she's like doing herself up and she's getting dressed and doing her makeup and stuff like that. What the fuck is she listening to? Like some like weird German pop song, and she's like singing along and shit. I'm like, is this what fucking teenage girls in 1989 were listening to?
And
like,
probably.
And she's singing it, and it was so weird. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this song is going to be stuck in my head for the next week because it was so bad. But it was funny because it was like a German pop song. It was totally German. It wasn't French. I'm like, this is so bizarre. Like, I mean, the whole narrative is so bizarre, and there's these weird ass scenes and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this movie is ridiculous. But I totally thought that they were setting it up from the second he was investigating like how Hitler died and with the cyanide and like how it tested it on the dog and shit. I was like, oh my God, is this where we're going? Like he's going to kill Baxter with fucking cyanide and then then they're going to kill each other. I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself going, I'm not going to put it past them to not do this. Right. Because this movie was it was shocking from a narrative standpoint. Like I'd never seen before. Right. It was so weird. It's weird, but JP, you are right. Like this movie isn't like straight up horror. It's just, it has such a bizarre narrative to it that it's horrific. Right. So,
dude, and using like a bull terrier for the dog is like so interesting. Like there's such a weird looking dog.
I think it's brilliant because I've always found bull terriers to be they have like the most blank stare. Right.
Dude, the way their like nose face is like curved is just like
it's like a blank stare. It's almost like a blank stare.
Like there's no like emotion. Like you can't see any emotion on
I think that's why they used the dog. I think it came off purposely. Like I mean, I think it was done on purpose because it doesn't show the emotion and it comes off like a blank stare and stuff. And I guess it's perfect if you're gonna have this character dog as like a psychotic fucking animal. So I guess it works great. But
he was pretty cool, man. I like that little dude.
Man, this movie's fucking has such a fucking downer fucking end too, man. I was like,
it was perfect.
That kid is a piece of shit.
It was perfect, and it made such a hard statement, and I loved it. It was,
dude, he was literally.
What was the hard
statement? I felt so bad for the dog.
It was like about the weight of her. It was about the weight of regret, and like it was about the idea of like the principles of Baxter killing and this fucking psychopath killing, and now how this kid's gonna live like his entire life, like thinking back, remembering like the shitty thing he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he lies about it too. He's like, "Oh, Baxter tried to kill me," and I'm like, "No, he didn't."
Yeah, what a little asshole.
Yeah, but that scene is brutal though, man. When he starts whip, like
Dude, he kills Baxter's boys, man, and girls possibly.
But he fucking, I know that scene was brutal too. I was like, that fucking, I know. At first, I was like, "Are those the puppies?" I was like, "Oh goddamn."
It's making on the commentary that like this kid is killing because he's a piece of shit, and like Baxter killed out of instinct and like for his own need.
Well, no, exactly. We know what the commentary is here. I mean, this kid, it's like super highly influenced. It's like it's very relevant to today's world and shit like that. How people get so influenced by what they see on the internet and all that type of shit. Like
this like
had no fascination
to like a serial killer movie.
Yeah, he had like no fascination with Hitler until he saw these things and he just became fat. Like that's how easily influenced he was and became psychotic based off of these findings and shit. Like it's
I think he was already psychotic.
Probably
it could be anything.
But I mean, they do note that like, he pretty much kind of changes and shit when he starts investigating, the Nazi propaganda and shit like that. So
I wonder if this dude read apt people.
But to be honest, that scene where he's whipping Baxter, he's fucking really whipping him. You can see the dog like cringing.
I know, bro.
I was like, brutal, man. I'm like, that's fucking terrible, man. And that's a scene you've never seen in a movie today.
Yeah, you
never see that because he's literally whipping him. Like, there's no cuts there.
There's no way he's not.
No, the dog is literally flinching. Like you can tell it's hitting him and he's like, ow, ow. And like, he's trained to like take it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. And then it just gets worse from there. I was like, oh my God, I felt so bad for Baxter. I was like, that's terrible. Even though Baxter was psychotic, but like, I think the kid, he deserved to die more than Baxter.
And like, it's cool. Cause like, like you said, Baxter's psychotic. And at the end of the movie, like who's the one you?
But with morals, so like he
who's the one you
emphasize killed for reasons. Like this kid was just psychotic. Like he tried to kill one of his classmates, but like he trapped him in a death pit.
That was so cool. God,
oh my God, dude, that scene though. He's like, I'm not gonna kill that kid. What the fuck? So Baxter basically bit the bullet because he didn't kill, essentially.
Yeah.
It's kind of brutal, man. It's brutal commentary, but I honestly, man, this movie was very fascinating because I had no idea what I was getting myself into with it. And like right away with the voiceover of the dog, I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool.
Right away with the voiceover of the dog, I was like, this is a Tyler movie.
It's very artsy, and it's funny
From like
too,
the opening credits, like
well, dude, even the scene with the old man and like how the old woman's like face like comes into frame and is like lit differently, showing that I'm like, dude, this is fucking art house, bro.
Right. No, there's some really good cinematography in this though, man. I think it's shot really well, and it captures some pretty interesting atmosphere considering it's all shot in the day and it's not like your typical type, but it fits though. It fits. Like it's such a dark movie that's all set in the day. I like that contrast, man. I'm a big fan of that. If you can make it work, you can make it work, but I don't know, man. It's again like just the training of the dogs and shit. Like it's just incredible. Like Baxter's fucking. It's just so well done. So well done. I really enjoyed this movie too. Like I was thinking about it after I watched it like all day. I was like, man, that's a unique movie. Very unique. So.
Yeah. Fun fact: the Australian Shepherd is not actually from Australia.
Well, shit.
They're an American breed.
Fucking liars.
That's really why. So what's the fun fact on why they're called Australian Shepherds?
Moodz, I'm not made of facts. Okay.
Okay. I'm just curious because if it's an American breed, that's really odd.
He's like a gumball machine, one at a time.
Right, one at a time.
All I know is that the Labrador Retriever is originally from Newfoundland.
Well, it's weird shit like that. You know, like sushi, like the California roll was not invented in California. It's fucking weird shit like that. It just happens to be called that.
You just stick California in front of them. People are like, oh, it's got vegetables and shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're not 100% sure on where it was actually invented, but there is a lot of sources saying it was actually invented in BC, Canada. So
what was invented in BC?
The California roll. So random. I know. It's so random, isn't it?
I thought it would have been made in Japan.
Yeah,
you would think so too, but like just that type of sushi, like the actual California roll.
We would never make something so plain.
Right.
Which is so, yeah, that makes total sense because it's the most popular It's the most popular in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to shit on it. It's still a good roll. It's just like there's way better stuff you can, but it's like a good entry to sushi roll.
If we do like a spicy
rolls.
California roll, I'm good with that.
I actually really like the deep fried California rolls. Those are awesome, man.
Yeah, I like the deep fried stuff.
Oh,
I like stuff with anything with spicy sauce on it.
Yeah, anything that has like
whatever the fuck they put on
sriracha mayo sauce is good.
Oh, now I want sushi.
I'd honestly rather someone just slap a bunch of sushi in front of me and just say, like, I'm not going to tell you what's in it, and then you just find out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love sushi, man. I want sushi.
I don't eat a lot of the.
I eat it very infrequently.
When I lived in Vancouver, stuff. I used to eat. I actually can't eat sashimi anymore with my liver and shit. So, but it was funny because I used to eat it all the time, and I found out like, hey, that could kill you. I'm like, oh fuck, probably shouldn't eat that anymore. So, but I used to live off sushi when I lived in Vancouver. This is like early 2000s, right? So it was super cheap. Like you could get, like 8-10 piece rolls for $2.50. Right, like that was fucking cheap, man. Oh yeah,
wow,
now it's like
crazy cheap.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, it was cheaper than buying groceries. I shit you not, man. Like I'd be at school for like 12 hours a day, and I'd eat sushi a couple times. Like just get a couple rolls here, and they're super cheap, man. And like it was just like ready to everything at my hands. So lived off sushi, man. It was great. Good for
sushi's
big
good.
Solid poops, man. Eating all that fucking rice and stuff.
Rice, seaweed,
good stuff, man. But.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago you showed a picture. You and Aaron made a bunch of fucking sushi.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's long and tedious to make, but you do it every once in a while. It's pretty fun. So
yeah.
But anyways, Baxter, you guys got anything else on?
One thing I will say is, and this is such a weird complaint because I normally don't have this complaint like fucking ever, but I almost feel like it could have been a little bit longer.
That's fair.
I feel like they sort of rushed through the stories a little. Like I feel like there was a little more to explore in each of the stories.
I would have liked at least with the last kid to have like felt a little bit more.
I feel like the first one, like with the old lady, was probably long enough. I think that one was a good length.
Yeah, that was good. I felt like you got like a good sense of Baxter too.
I feel like they did rush the middle one. with before the kid adopted, like the one.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
That would
probably
be
the middle one. Maybe if you added like another 5 minutes to that, dude.
Mhm.
Yeah. The middle one's probably the most unsatisfying one. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Well, it does. It just seems like holy shit, like he's getting the boot. Like if that's how quick it happens.
Yeah,
like,
it does happen quick. It's very transitional.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a complaint you don't hear a lot on this podcast. 83-minute movie should have been about 90. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So
but that's pretty much all I got. Except for a person who hunts with a beagle, not hunts a beagle, Jesus, is known as a beagler. Fun fact.
A beagler.
Beagler. Wow. It's like a play on burglar. Interesting.
Yeah. I love beagles. They're funny. I like dogs. I guess, is it me?
Yes.
Yeah, Baxter was pretty kick-ass, not gonna lie. I think it's really just an interesting movie. It's different. Not a lot of stuff out there like it. It definitely has like sort of a art house flair to it. And I think that the acting with the dog is really good in this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in at an 8.5 on this one. I think it's really solid. It's so unique, and I for lack of a better term or adjective, but it is definitely what it is. It's very unique. It's a very entertaining watch. It's quick. It's very to the point though. It doesn't really beat around the bush with his 83-minute running time. So,
who put out the Blu-ray?
Scorpion.
Yeah, I think I picked it up on a Kino sale once or something.
I've probably passed. I didn't put my Kino order in yet. I hope it's for sale right now.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, good old Baxter. All right, so say, what do you got on this one?
I like this movie a lot. It's actually probably one of my favorite watches of the year so far of first time movies. This one was great. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Nice. All right, so that is Baxter from 1989. All right, so getting into the third and final film here on episode 247, we're going to go back to 2006 with a film called The Breed, directed by Nicholas Mastandre. I don't know. What else did this guy do? Did he do anything else that I know of? His name seems familiar. But
there's one thing that he did that I was familiar with. I can't remember it. No,
it's funny. It doesn't even show like his directing film. It just shows all this producer and directors and stuff.
No, this is the only movie he directed.
Oh, really? Crazy. Yeah, he's mostly behind the scenes kind of thing. The Breed. So, of course, starring Michelle Rodriguez, Oliver Hudson's in the film, Tara Manning. All these people you've seen in movies around this time. Familiar faces. So quick little synopsis here. A group of 5 college kids are forced to match wits with unwelcoming residents when they fly to a deserted island for a party weekend. That's essentially what they do. They fly into this island. And man, I always wanted to do that
island movie.
I always wanted to fly in one of those those boat planes. I've never done that before and land on the water and shit.
Surprisingly, they use those boat planes in a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, it's cool. I just like the
lot
idea
of crocodile. I've noticed a lot of crocodile movies. They use it because it makes for a great scene at the end when they're trying to take off, and the crocodile's like, "Rawr, I'll get you."
Right. No, I always like that whole the only access is by flight, kind of idea. I like that whole thing. It'd be pretty cool to basically have your own island with a cabin and stuff like that. So, The Breed, basically these people show up at this island and there is a huge pack of fucking I wouldn't say they're not feral. They've been kind of altered. I mean, we learn things throughout the film and stuff like that, but, there's basically just a pack of killer dogs and they got to fight for their lives because these things are fucking insane. again, coming down to the scenes in this film, like this movie is actually a lot better than I remembered it to be, like, from the aspect of the dogs and stuff. Again, man,
I've always kind of liked this movie. Like, I don't think it's like a masterpiece or anything, but
no, I think the best part about this movie is just watching the dogs and like what they accomplish with the training and shit. Like, there's some pretty vicious scenes in this film, like the scene where the dog jumps through the window and stuff, and like there's just a lot of really kind of intense moments in the shit. And
it's also kind of a siege movie, which I'm always a fan of.
Right. Yeah. Basically, yeah. They get kind of holed up in their cabin and these things are fucking attacking the shit out of them stuff. And I mean, the narrative is very typical. You kind of expect where it goes and stuff.
The only weird thing about the narrative is like the rabies, like specialty. If they're not regular dogs, you know what I mean? And like they have like this weird effect on what's her name? Taryn Manning. Like that whole thing where she's like getting like super hungry, and
they don't really explore it a lot though. Like,
she almost has like a sixth sense. It's like a very it feels like almost like they were rolling with it, and then they're like, maybe not.
No, like they explore it. They try to explain it away a little bit when they find that the research facility and stuff, and then they kind of figure that, oh shit, they were using these animals as like test subject. Well, not even test subjects. They were actually altering. I think they bred these animals the way they are. Like they were using them for, I'm assuming, probably military reasons.
I think it was test subjects.
Always military reasons.
Yeah. Like they were using them as like,
yeah. Pretty
like
sure it was like
perfect killers.
It's like a perfect killer. They're like mutated dogs, basically.
Basically, yeah. So, but they altered the DNA and made them like uber fucking aggressive and
it's
shit like that. So
it's like Deep Blue Sea with dogs.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Well,
so they're kind of bred from
because Deep Blue Sea, they were trying to do cancer research.
Well, they made them wicked smart, because like that was like one thing about this movie. I was like, dude, like these dogs are like fucking Marines. Like they're like having like tactical like formations and like jumping through windows and like knowing like how to fake them out. I'm like, come on, dude.
No, that's a part of the story, bro. That
was part of the research.
Yeah, I know. Like, but they did say it was because of the research. Like I know it. I was like, yeah, like these dogs are like fucking like.
Well, all that shit made sense to me. That shit made sense to me. Was how they altered these animals and they made them like super smart and stuff, like they're military smart, and it shows like the scene where the dogs chew the fucking ropes from the plane and it floats down the water and shit.
Dude, it's so funny when they're swimming up to the plane and it just kind of turns and they're just like sitting on the wing, bro.
Like that, like they're guarding them. They're making sure that they're not going to fucking get this plane. Like that's crazy.
And then like all the fucking dogs are coming out of like the swamp, like it's Apocalypse Now or something.
Yeah. But going back to like when Tara Man, like when she gets bit and stuff, and then she starts having like almost like this almost like this connection, like this telepathic connection, like they kind of try to explore a little bit. Like obviously she's affected by the hunger and stuff, and it's kind of like a side effect or whatever, like rabies and stuff, but they don't talk about them having rabies. It's not even that, but they kind of like, they go into this territory where she has like this bond with these animals because she was bit and stuff, but then it gets away from it. They don't really explore it again until like the end of the film, where
I think
the brothers, they get bit.
Maybe it was like a explanation for why they're able to like be tactical, essentially, because the dogs can communicate that way, sort of.
But
I think it was just a thing they were like because.
But it's funny because the brothers, they start to have, it starts to affect them a little bit too. And they don't really go into it. Like you don't really know exactly what's going on with that. And it's kind of a shame actually, because it would have been interesting.
Honestly, I kind of felt like this movie was a remake of The Pact, except with all the stuff that made The Pact good.
Yeah. Well, I think that like the time that this movie came out, like what are you going to do for a killer dog movie? Like you just make a killer dog movie on an island and it's just been done before, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, the obvious choice is to make them feral, right? Like make these dogs feral, and they have, they're crazy because of that shit. I feel like
the whole like they're like like that they're like genetically mutated, or it's just like it's such like the obvious thing to go with.
But this was a big popular thing. There was a lot of movies like this around this time, and like there was wars
it's no
going
different than what was going on in the 70s with just another killer animal movie. You know what I mean? It's just they like at this time it was about like mutations or like genetically modifying the animals to make them, like you mentioned, Deep Blue Sea, like to make them like super smart or super strong or whatever. It's just a trope of the time.
Yeah, like a perfect military weapon, I think is kind of what they're going for in this one. Like super smart and like killers, and yeah, like these dogs are practically fucking like highly educated Marines.
It's like when like they had
universal soldier,
the universal dog soldiers. So it's like these guys like throwing each other signals, like I'm gonna hop through the windows when they get scared, come out through the back.
Yeah.
Dude, how about when fucking dude shoots Michelle Rodriguez in the leg?
I know, man. She
wasn't like all slow mo, like this hero
brushed
moment.
that off. They brushed that off so quick, like it wasn't a big deal. Like I would be like, "You fucking moron! What are you doing?"
Well, the thing that's annoying
Dude,
about
she gets
that
around
scene,
pretty good with
that's
that.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and she's like fucking ziplining.
That's what I find super annoying about that scene, because like right after, like she seems like she's walking around fine. She's like ziplining, she's like jumping onto buildings. I'm like, you have a fucking arrow through your calf.
It almost would have made more sense to have her boyfriend be the one that gets the arrow.
Yeah,
because then he would have been like more like
that guy was and that guy was
zip
fucking
line
useless.
and stuff.
the thing that bugs me about this movie is like the actual setup to it. It's like, how in the hell was there more guys than girls in this film? Like you couldn't even even out the playing field.
Always is, man.
The hell's with that?
Always is.
You always. When are you ever somewhere where there's more girls?
But like they could have had at least 3 and 3.
The weird friend you bring along is never a girl.
Yeah,
right. It's always a dude.
Like
it's the funny
Shelley.
guy. It's the funny guy or the partier, the stoner.
Yeah. But I mean, you get to see Michelle Rodriguez in a bikini in this movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've always liked Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, me too, man. I like this era, man. I had a huge crush on her, man. I always liked her. There's
She's
something
a lesbian too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I always just something about her look, man. She's just so hot.
And her
to me,
voice, it's kind of like smoky.
Mm-hmm.
I like her too.
Yeah, no, she's just got that look to her, man.
And that Taryn girl, I've seen her in so much stuff.
Oh, she's in tons of
Hustle
stuff.
and Flow is like the main thing I think of.
I always found her to be.
She's actually a pretty good actress.
So that's funny you say that, because I think that she's not a good actress. Like I've seen her in stuff before. I'm like, man, she's not very good in that, man. Like
I've only seen her in 8 Mile, apparently.
Oh yeah,
she's in wait. Oh yeah, she's his ex-girlfriend, Janine or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, she's in tons of movies, man. She was definitely that one actress.
Well, she was in Orange is the New Black too. She was really good on that show.
Oh yeah, I watched like that show for like 2 episodes. Like, oh, this is for girls, and I just never watched it
It's
again.
not for girls, bro. You're a girl. Yeah, but no, I've seen it. I don't know. I think she's pretty good. I guess I'm alone in that. Not in this movie. This is probably one of her not so good performances, but
man, her fucking death scene in this movie is brutal.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And, like,
I was like, okay.
and
I thought we were talking about Michelle Rodriguez still for a second. I was like, oh.
Like this one's got some nasty fucking kills on the dogs too. Like that dog that dies in that scene, and like the dog that dies in the house and shit. Like they just fucking stab the shit. Like there's some nasty deaths in this one. I think the only little bit of CG I think is the part where the vehicle runs over one. I think for a quick second you can kind of see like a little bit of CG, but that kind of makes sense. Or
There's CG when she comes down like out the window too. Like that was one spot, but there's not a ton. It's a couple spots. Like
and it's very very quick and stuff. Like like I mean, to be honest, this is pretty much all practical.
Like I did like in all fairness feel like this was like a sci-fi original movie, but like it's like the quality in it is above that.
Oh yeah, big time. Like the dude that was in the woods there gets attacked by the dogs and shit. Like that's kind of a brutal scene, man. But
I don't remember. Was this film theatrical?
I cannot imagine this film was theatrical. I don't believe that.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It grossed 14.
I thought this would have been like a direct-to-video movie.
It doesn't look like cheap,
dude. It said box office 14,500. It grossed 1.6 million worldwide.
Oh, so it's probably limited then.
Oh yeah, okay.
Honestly, limited. I was like, okay, where did they shot this in Germany, South Africa, and the States? I was wondering where they shot those scenes, because that water is like super minerally. It's like how dark the water was. Like it's usually not dirty. It's usually from like overabundance of minerals and stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but like the water wasn't like that, crystal blue kind of shit.
Nah, I wasn't that observant.
I always noticed
actually
shit like that, but
a Wes Craven production too. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kinda
Wes
interesting.
had done a lot of these type of movies around this time, though. Like, didn't he produce? He produced the Hills Have Eyes movies too, didn't he? Around this time?
Yeah, he produced the American Pulse. He did a lot the Dracula movies. He did a lot of producing in the 2000s.
Yeah. Slowed down behind the camera and produced a lot of movies and shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's probably before Speed.
This was the director who directed this was his debut, and Raven actually recruited him after he was the first AD on New Nightmare.
Oh, okay. So he did the Hills Have Eyes one. I was right about that. He executive produced Feast. Crazy. Oh, Dracula 2000. Remember his name being on that. Don't Look Down. The movie sucked.
Well, Dracula 2000 literally is called, like, on most DVDs, Wes Craven's Dracula 2000.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater, actually. I saw that one in the theater. Oh, that's right. He produced the fucking remake for Carnival of Souls. That's crazy.
Oh, that movie sucks.
Dude, that's a bad movie. He produced fucking Wishmaster? Crazy. I didn't.
Yeah, I did know that too.
That's
Wishmaster
crazy.
kicks ass. Did we ever do those?
No, we didn't.
Oh, we're doing them.
That would be an interesting show to do. The
I
Carnival
love
of
the
Souls
Wishmaster.
OG versus remake.
We could do that. We haven't done an OG verse remake in a long time. I feel.
Time.
Yeah, ooh.
Let's do that.
Those are
Yeah,
cool
we could do
too.
that one.
Carnival of Souls. Yeah, honestly, it gave me reason to I've only ever seen the
Yeah.
remake once, and I think I saw it when it came out, and I was like, oh my god, it's really bad.
I had it on VHS growing up as a kid, and the cover always looked kind of cool with like balloons and stuff. Like it looked like some kind of clown thing. So I was like, let's fucking watch this. And I would always get bored and not even pay attention to it. I used to do that a lot. Like I would retry movies that I knew sucked, like because it's what I owned.
If I like get distracted with a movie now, like I just stop and then like I just mentally take no, like just try this again in a couple of days. Like I feel like I have to watch it all in one sitting, or I feel weird about it.
Yeah. I feel weird about this fun fact. Dogs are not colorblind. They can see blue and yellow.
Really?
I didn't know that.
That is actually.
Well, I did know that because I said it, but I'm saying like I think most people think that they see black and white.
Yeah, that is very interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, the very last shot in the film. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Is it just?
It's very sci-fi original.
So live or die.
I mean, like, I think you can just believe what you want to believe, but I want to believe die.
Yeah, I think so too. Nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. You're done. They're already suffering because they've been bit.
They're done. I don't like any of these people. I don't give a shit about any of their problems.
Yeah. But yeah, no, honestly, man, it's actually better than I remembered it to be. I hadn't seen it in years. I honestly didn't remember anything except for the scene where they jumpstart the car and they like come to a halt at the end of the edge of the cliff. Because I remember originally watching this and being like, holy fuck, like I got butterflies watching that again.
Dude, it is scary, bro. Like it gives me anxiety, man.
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh my God. I actually remembered that part and I was like, oh fuck.
I am not doing that. Just like in the other movie, I ain't jumping off no fucking cliff. I ain't going off in a car. I'm jumping out the car before you even get a chance to try to get it to work. Because I ain't taking the risk of fucking flying off a cliff, dude.
Yeah, no, fuck that shit. Well, I mean, the breed. I guess it's up to me.
If there's anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the breed from 2006. Yeah, it's better than I remembered, to be honest. Like I said, I didn't really remember too much from it, but shockingly enough, when I was rewatching, I was like, man, it's mostly practical effects. I was expecting it to be a little bit more like kind of like sci-fi-ish, more CG and shit like that. But it's better made than I actually thought it was going to be and stuff. There's some weird things in the film, like with the whole connection with the dogs and stuff that doesn't really get fully explained and shit. But I do like the premise though, like, altering dogs, military wise and stuff like that. I mean, it's very typical type narrative plot device, but it is what it is, man. It's okay for what it is. Some pretty nasty kills. Again, the dogs steal a show for me. Just the training on the dogs is fucking phenomenal. I'm sure they did fucking probably weeks and weeks and weeks of shit like this. for the breed. But overall, pretty solid movie. I'm going to give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's not one of the more top tier killer dog films out there, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's worth your time. I think it's the longest of the three too. It's like
what did you give
minutes.
it?
6.5.
It's the pack's the longest.
Yeah, it was the longest.
Oh yeah. The pack was a little bit longer. Yeah, but this one felt longer though.
All right, Tidbit, it's your turn.
So this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen or anything, but overall, I kind of just felt like the characters were pretty NPC. I didn't think it was really that inventive or anything that crazy over the top, but it's not like not entertaining or anything awful. So it's just pretty average. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean the characters aren't like overly horrible or nothing, but they're just not.
It's like there's not like I don't like by the time I'm like writing a review of it, like I don't even remember their names.
Right.
I never do anyway.
Yeah, like it's not like it's awful or anything, but like I would never be like this is a great movie.
Mm-hmm. I probably like this more than both of you guys. I think it's pretty damn fun. I think the worst aspect of it to me is the sort of like telepathic, like contagious, like bite thing that they kind of go with. I get why they did it, but
it's so unresolved. Like it just doesn't.
It feels like an afterthought, you know. It feels like we got to put something to make this more unique. And
I
almost kind of feel like her character. They wanted to make it seem like beat up enough that like they could kill her, and it wouldn't be like it wouldn't feel that bad. Like if they killed her,
right?
Yeah. So I'm coming in at a 7 out of 10.
7. Is that what you get the pack too?
I gave it an 8.
Oh yeah,
I gave it a 7.
Right.
The Grinch over here.
Fun fact: greyhounds can beat cheetahs in a race. While cheetahs can run twice as fast as greyhounds, they can only maintain that 70-mile-per-hour speed for about 30 seconds. A greyhound can maintain a 35-mile-per-hour speed for up to 7 miles.
Wow,
for about 7
fast.
miles. Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
What a horse!
Wow. Q. What did you give this one, Salcedo?
5.
Coolio. All right, so that is episode 247. I think that's what we're at.
That was Zoology Dogs.
Volume 2. So next week we will be back with, of course, The Polar Opposite and Cats. And what are the films again?
It is The Uncanny, The Uninvited, and The Unstrays.
So The Uncanny, of course, is from 77. So that's just the companion piece for The Pact.
Oh,
Pretty much. 1977 cat and dog film. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to all of these.
Movie,
I haven't seen any of these. I'm looking forward to these.
Well, you're gonna not like Strays very much.
No, he's definitely not gonna like Strays too much.
It's just it's like a TV movie. It's kind of cheesy.
Like even like that's the thing though. Is like I know like sometimes I'm hard on stuff where I'm like it was like a 5 or like this is like a 4 or something. But like so I get enjoyment out of some of that.
I think you're gonna give it a 5.
5. Like yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, so Cats. We got a ton of zoology shows in mind. We'll sprinkle them in here and there throughout the, shows. But we got a lot of stuff planned, man. I'm excited. I'm having fun podcasting right now. I'm enjoying watching movies. So
it's back to being fun. It's back to being fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. So that's all we got. You guys got anything else before we get the fuck out of here?
No, that should be it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next. Yeah. See you guys next week. Episode 248. Zoology Volume 3. Killer Cats. We out. Deuces.
Peace.
That's all, folks.